Fingers hold on tight. Here comes Armageddon's bite. Can't open a twist and turn. Feel the power as you learn. Top rolls rising like the sun. Front press heavy, gotta run. Side pressure moves so fast. Fight for glory, make it last. Slash to the back, case the mass. Back pressure strong, never blast. Break on tension, feel the pain. Push through when it's in the vein. Hold your ground, don't give in. Feel the fire deep within. In the arena, battles rage. Strength and spirit break the cage.
Bam, we're live, brother. So, how's Mr. Jody Williams?
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Thanks for having me on the show again tonight.
Oh, thanks for coming on, buddy. I love having you on.
One of these days, I will be at one of those events. Like,
yeah, buddy.
Montana Armbender. Who put the one on Valentine's Day?
M-Spot. That was Red Leg Studios in the M Spot. Yeah.
So, MABL, M Spot. Look,
MABL is the M Spot, and MABC is Josh Wilson. Yeah. Yeah, I know.
I will make an appearance there one of these days.
They used to be partners.
Yeah, I heard they kind of just did that deal. So,
yeah. That's unfortunate. I mean, it's too small of a sport to be, splitting off and
butting
heads. You know what I mean?
Brandon Morris and Chance Shaw kind of did the same thing. So out of Florida, so I guess it wouldn't be the first time. It sure won't be the last. So, but
because it's all usually about money, right? And shit. And it's like
our sport's not that big enough to be tripping over money. Like it's really not, And I tell you what, like here's the thing. This is what I like. And I don't know how many lovebirds out there were checking out the event on Valentine's Day, but I had a little free time and I was like, oh, let me check this out and stuff because I knew you had a match with Brennan because you talked about it, you promoted it. So I'm thinking, all right. And I know Brennan, him and his brother, they're like I told you before, they're like one state over from me. So
they're trained.
I got experience with those guys. And I didn't realize how big Brennan got. Like I didn't know. I was like going, man, he looked kind of big. And then when they had the stats, it said 270. I'm like going, nah. Yeah. I'm like, it wasn't that long ago to me anyway. About a year ago, he was around 240. Pulled the 242 class.
Yeah, and I thought he was going to come in light too because he was like 254 or something when the match was made. And then I guess he took me more serious than I took him. I mean, yeah.
Listen, them dudes, that whole those guys. First of all, the brothers, right?
Yeah,
and you can add their dad in there too.
Yeah,
they take that stuff seriously, which is good, not a bad thing, because it keeps people like me and some other people hungry because you got these young bucks. When I mean young, like as far as like in the sport, and you got those young bucks nipping at your heels, thinking, okay, that kind of keeps me going, Last year at my tournament, the LOD, Team Idaho came in here and just wore everybody out, and it was like, wow. I'm like, hey, Oregon, you gonna allow that to happen? That kind of deal, Because I was only the ref. I mean, I don't pull at my events anymore. I'm more of the ref,
I've seen you reffing, yeah.
So I was kind of going. Those two guys had super matches, and then of course, their dad pulled. Jordan Spadil, he pulled, and they had some. I think one of their kids pulled in, and the whole family just came down here and put a whooping on Team Oregon. And I'm like going, for me, it's like y'all should be ashamed of yourselves. And I already got my own issues with the state of Oregon, not personal, but just I know we're talented. It's just we don't really travel. Only I can count on one hand how many pullers from our area that really travel and do something. The rest of them don't. And I'm not blaming them, but at the same time, you got to realize that I know they're good and I want them to be good. It's like, just put yourself out there and see what happens, It's kind of like that, but I know.
They make them better too, and then they get to feel different people. They're not, you pull the same guys all the time, it gets generic, right?
It's a catch. It's how can I say this? It's good and bad because it's good because it does create rivals. But at the same time, you want to know, okay, well, I'll pull this guy, part 13, whatever, chapter 40, whatever. But then you don't want to know, okay, well, What am I doing? I want to know how good can I be? Because every puller has that what if, right?
Yeah.
Can I do this? Or they question themselves. And we don't have a state tie. We don't have a state champ. I think I told you this before. We
Yeah.
don't have a state championship in the state of Oregon. We don't.
Oh,
We have to travel to Washington or Nevada or Idaho or where California, wherever. We have to travel outside of our state to attain a state title. So
yeah.
there you
Well,
go.
maybe
Which
that could change one day, right? Like,
I'm hoping so. I'm in talks with someone. Hope we can, do that sometime this summer. But we'll see. But I know for me, it's more like the tournament I do, the LOD. It's a fundraiser for one, but
yeah.
it's the first one in Oregon that kicks things off. And then all of a sudden, okay, everyone's gearing up for the summer and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But they pull the tournaments like in Idaho, and
Yeah.
elsewhere. But they like, I wish they were better. Once upon a time, our state was we can go toe to toe to anybody.
Yeah.
And I guess now that, myself and the field are like the elder statesmen now,
Mhm.
and we got some young studs, but it's like they don't really compete as much as you would want them to, I think. And I can't sit there and make them. And like I said, they
Yeah,
might have stuff going on at home.
they might be worried that they because they just compete locally, they think their level's not high. I mean, one thing I found when I started traveling was that the level's decent, and I can be like, I might lose here and there, but I mean, I can be competitive traveling.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I found
Yeah.
that the more I've traveled now, I've gotten better, right? So
Yep.
yeah, like it's good. It's definitely good. And I mean, I encourage people here, like before this year, we never went to Montana. We never went anywhere. But then,
Right.
lucky for us, we got talking to Dion, some guys down in Montana. We started doing crossover events and everything. Now we almost represent Montana. Like, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like I'm number one in the supers in Montana, right? Even though I'm from Alberta, right?
Right.
So it was number one for Montana against well, I don't know what Brennan is in Idaho, but he beat me. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and that's nice because now I got something to train for, and I know where I stand with him, and I definitely know he's got endurance for days. His pulling style is very frame oriented. He relies on his frame a lot, but it works, and you get somebody with too much pride like me. I just tried to power through him. All I had to do was change the angle a degree. I probably would have got the second round without exerting all that energy. But
I
I
was
mean,
listening to your show about that this morning as I was getting ready for work, and I was like going, and you admit it, and yeah, you kind of took them lightly, and you think, oh, I'm gonna do it, especially after the first match.
I thought I
Usually,
was going to do that 3 times, honestly. Yeah.
right. But I
Yeah.
always felt, and I want to get your opinion. So when in the Supermatch format, whoever wins, then the person that lost is the one that needs to make the adjustment.
Yeah. No,
You
definitely.
know, like if I'm up to nothing, why the hell do I got to change up? You got to solve that puzzle. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I've done this before. And it's bit me in the butt. I'm trying to fix that. Where I've gone up 2-0, and then I try something different. Because if it's the best of five, I'm up 2-0. I can spare one, I guess.
Funny. That's
So to
funny because
speak.
I was going to. I said if I won the first 2 rounds top roll, I was going to say let's just go with the straps right in the hook.
Right.
I was going to do that if I would have got that second round, right? So
Hmm.
yeah, yeah.
And one time I went to a hook and I didn't fully commit to it and got beat. My own fault. I didn't fully commit to it. So, it's just one of those things where there's a strategy. Like, let's see here. You guys' match was right-handed, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just say you and I are pulling, right?
Yeah.
And this is a strategy thing. Some people don't realize this. You may know this already, but we'll see. But you and I are pulling. If the header's on this side of me,
Mhm.
I'm gonna make sure I slip.
Oh yeah.
Because then the
And then he
buckle's
gets
going to
the
be on
buckle in his hand. He
the
gets the
buckle's going to be
buckle.
on your side.
I
Exactly. So
know.
people,
Where did I start on the table? I wanted to make sure that I was the first to get called out. so
right,
I had so I had that side of the table.
right.
Yeah, I did.
So
Yeah.
if you're on the
Yeah.
opposite side, you don't dare try to slip because then it's like, okay, that's
Yeah.
if you believe
I
that the
do
buckle
believe
can,
I do believe
cause
there's
some
an
things.
advantage. I do believe because the thing is if two people really know what they're doing in the straps, the one without the buckle is always going to be higher.
Right.
Now, if you get one guy really experienced with the buckle and it's a newbie on the no buckle side, you might be able to, when the rest tightening the strap, what you try
Right.
to do is you try to grip, and that way when he brings you back up, you're on top. Like there's tricks, right? But if you know what I mean? If it's two guys that know how to use the straps, I don't want the buckle. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh, I mean, yeah,
yeah,
I mean that's one way of thinking about it.
that's how I
I
look at it. Yeah.
until people start making a big deal, I never really noticed the difference, if I'm being honest.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Till something to
I did early
when
on.
people start making a big deal of it, I didn't notice it. But of course, I'm coming off when I got into the sport, we were using Velcro buckles still.
Yeah.
So
And you're
the
doing the whole
Velcro
hustle
straps.
strap and stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
if you can use the
I-
Velcro strap, you can Kings move all goddamn day and be all right.
Yeah.
But I think what it was is that when people started making a big deal, my brain just kind of went there. Oh, I don't want the buckle. Then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get it anyway. Fuck it, I don't even care.
Yeah.
But just know that when your hands up here and they go to tighten it, you don't want to. I want to jam up because when they tighten it, I don't.
Yeah. So you don't,
You know,
yeah. So you don't
they
end up
tighten
below.
it and all of a sudden your
Yeah.
hand comes down. That's what I don't want.
Yeah. I mean, it's
But
just, it's kind of just common sense, right? Like if we put our hands together, I have the buckle, he's pulling down. My hand, I'm going to do my best to keep it up, but my hand is getting dragged down.
mhm.
His hand's here, the buckle's on my side. He's shimming up. And it's just the way the mechanics work of the buckle. It's actually just common sense, really. I mean, I got the buckle, it's dragging my hand down. He's got no buckle, his hand's getting pulled up by the strap. And if he goes with it, he gets really high, right? If it's not a
Yeah,
rest grip, he
I'll.
get
There's two things I can do with that. I can say, hey, ref, he's
yeah,
way high.
you
Because
need to. You
if
need
you
to be
don't
on it.
pull and just
Yeah.
open your hand, if you don't close your hand but you keep it open, you can literally see the guy way up here. Then he'll
Yeah,
kind of fix that. The ref will.
exactly. No, you're
But
right. You're right.
there's times where it's like going, I don't care, fuck it. I mean, either if it's the match I really, really want to win, I'm thinking, dude, even this up.
Yeah.
Or I might just say, fuck it, because I don't want to sit there and start messing around the strap because then your hand blows up,
Yeah,
you
that
know?
happens too. Yeah, true. Yeah.
I might just say, screw you, go ahead, get what you want. I'm gonna grip you a little bit lower and I'm gonna fucking add down pressure.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
anybody who's gonna climb up in the strap ain't fucking trying to hook you.
No, they're top rolling. Yeah,
So
100%.
when you do that, okay, well, it's no different than when people step a certain way. They're gonna, you kind of know what you're gonna do. So if they're gonna sit there and in here, all of a sudden they're trying to inch their way up here. Go ahead. I'm gonna just
Mhm.
grip you low. I'm gonna plant my elbow. I'm gonna apply down pressure. So when you say go, you try to top roll. I'm
Yeah.
driving right down here and
Yeah,
open you right up.
and you
So,
got that wedge already
yep.
established. Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah, see, I was gonna
well,
say
there's
this
good things.
kid, Brennan,
Hmm.
he really impressed me with his setup game.
Yeah.
Because when I watched the guy I trained for, he would go like this, set up high, but he's a hooker, but he'd just
Right.
go like that. All he would do is wrist curl people in.
Right.
And I watched all his matches, and I'm like, he does that to me, it's over. One, two, three, done. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's what I trained for. And I took for granted that he was just going to come in and he was going to be the same way he was in all the other super matches I watched, because why would it be any different if did that continuously? No, he came in, he slipped, which blew my mind. Like all the videos I watched, he held on a lot. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And then it would eventually slip. With me, he was really good at slipping right away. That kind of threw me off. He was setting up high, matching me. That was, I don't know. I was like, he doesn't want a top roll. He's not a top roller. He
Mhm.
did a lot of things that threw me off my game that
A
were a
lot of
little
side
different.
pressure.
Yeah, well, the thing is with the side pressure, it came in after, like, I couldn't believe how much I diminished. Like that first pin I got on him, I
Hmm.
thought, oh, it's over. You know what I mean? And then when he wedged, he got a wedge in on the second round. When I hit
Right.
him, he like wedged. And I did take him right down, like not near the pin line, but I got him down, about that far from the pad, and he stopped it. And then I was thinking in my head, I'm thinking, oh, I'm just gonna power through him then. Normally, I would right away, once a guy here, I would transition and press. Like in a
Right.
tournament or anything, I wouldn't even screw around. But I took for granted, right, this kid, and then I hit again, and then I hit again, and every time he got a little more, little more, little more. Then I started feeling my shit blow up already. Round two, I'm like, what's going on, right? Then I went in for the press, and his
Right.
tendons are very strong tendons.
They do
Anyway,
some interesting strength lifts.
Oh,
and it
okay.
works for them. Now,
Yeah, yeah.
and I don't know about you, but I gotten shit in the past about some of my training methods and oh, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. I'm like, look, man,
Different for
I
everybody
do
too.
what benefits me on the table. It might not benefit you guys, but it benefits me. So yes, I'm a guy, I'm sitting for this fucking ring over here. See that?
Yep,
I'm just sitting up here just, squeezing
yep.
the hell out of that. So I will do table curls. And some people go, table curls don't help you on the table. Okay, that's fine.
You help
But
me on my
I know what
squat
I
rack.
need to do to help my game. So
Oh
that
yeah.
or
You train in
hand
defense
grippers
and offense
because
too.
hand grippers because you squeeze it, your wrist is back. I'm okay with that. I know your wrist want to be like that, but there's
Mhm.
times where I want my wrist back
Sometimes,
and
yeah.
and I want to be, without
Have
getting with all my
you ever seen
secrets.
Hutchings? Have you ever seen Hutchings?
Hmm.
He'll actually give away this to
Yeah,
gain this. Like, you know
right.
what I mean? He's always
Hmm.
giving away a little in the wrist to gain that driving. Did
Right.
you see his pronation and did you watch East versus West this past weekend?
I did not, unfortunately,
Oh
but I know the
shit.
matches are out there. Somebody like pirated the
Oh
pay-per-view,
yeah,
so it's out there.
it was brutal this time, man. I mean, I ended up getting really angry at the reffing again. So I was kind of talking about it a little bit last night. I just think that
Oh, you mean how they was picking on Devin, even though Devin wasn't doing a whole lot? They're still,
I'm gonna tell you the truth. Devin had legitimate complaints. I used to think it was Devin too, right? He gets annoying, 20 minutes set up every time. I'm thinking it's Devin. I'm watching this match with Gennady. Devin was wanting to go right away. He
Mhm.
didn't actually screw around that much. And Gennady was like in the ref grip, trying to take the strap off. He was doing
Foul.
oh yeah, foul instantly. Yeah, he fouled like 6 or 7 times. And Devin's like, let's just go. Like, you know what I mean? Let's go. And then Devin did almost nothing and they go, foul, Devin. I'm like, Gennady just spent 10 minutes fouling repeatedly in the ref grip. And then
So,
and then they stop Devin. Devin hits. He's in a winning position, but he's below the table. So he's like
mhm,
this, right?
right.
They called him for shoulder below the table. Meanwhile, he was in a winning position.
I think what's unfortunate about that is that because in the past, this is just my opinion. I don't. Is there a chat?
Yep. Oh, yeah, they're going nuts.
I can't even see the comments. I don't know. What's up, y'all? What's up, everybody? Um, it's my thing is this.
Dan Plexman just
Be-
said, hey, Jody, how's it going?
Plexi,
Yeah, yeah.
because there's so many times in the past Devin has done that shit that now it's just they just look
The
for a
boy
reason
that
to.
cried wolf. Yeah.
It's almost like in the NBA with Dennis Rodman. You just say if you look at me sideways, I'm giving you a technical foul
Yeah.
because of all the stuff he's done before. So
Yeah.
with Devin, it's the same thing. All the shenanigans he's done in the past, now he's built himself a name, and so the one time he's actually legit, has a right to, he's just getting dinged for it. I don't think it's fair, but
It's
then
not.
again, here we are. There's a
Well,
reason why all the joke is, oh, okay, we can watch an episode of Family Guy and Devin will still be up,
yeah.
because
Well,
it takes that long.
the thing is I've never missed an East versus West. I've spent my hard-earned money on every single one of them, right? Now I've been mad and angry at the reffing 95% of everyone. There was
Mhm.
one with Paul Lynn. Remember when Paul Lynn pulled Sasha?
Yes.
If you watch that match and you analyze it, I can't help, even though it's probably just imaginary in my brain, I can't help to see biased. And I mean, there was a round, I think it was the when Paul got his second pin, okay? He
Mhm.
had Sasha buried, and people for like 7 seconds went, "It's a pin, it's a pin." They were yelling. Finally, the ref called a pin. Now, the next round, right when Paul could have won it and beat Sasha,
Mhm.
the gas ran out. It
Mhm.
was like Paul had him there again, but this time Sasha, he didn't have enough jam left. Sasha came back and won, right? He just won 3 in a row after that. Now, I'm just saying, I don't know if it would have changed the match or anything, but there is things that when it's a screw up, right? It
Right.
can change the match. And the reason I'm so hard on East versus West, this is the fucking pinnacle of arm wrestling. We got the best arm wrestlers in the world. You know what I mean? And we're paying top dollar. I'm paying $30 now to watch it,
Is
right?
that how much? Well,
Yeah,
probably for you.
Canadian too. Yeah, Canadian.
Okay.
I think it's like 22 or something now for you or something. It went up
Yeah.
anyway. So the thing is when I'm watching this piss poor, I'm a ref too, and I'm not as
Mhm.
good as these master refs, but it makes the refs look amateur. It's like amateur hour. It's like I've seen better refing at local tournaments because I don't know if they're just scared shitless of what England will do to them if they make the wrong call, but they're like scared to pull the trigger, and it's the it's the craziest reffing I've ever seen watching East versus West. And I'm usually angry and with my face red every time I watch East versus West now. Now I love the caliper, I love everything else, but the reffing is like just horrible. It's horrible reffing now. Like for that level, to be at the pinnacle of arm wrestling with the best arm wrestlers in the world, and me have to watch it, like, yeah, 20-minute setup with Devin and Gennady, that match, it made no sense. The ref should have took control, fouled Gennady right away. Gennady would have smartened up. Gennady assaulted Devin during that match too.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I heard about
yeah,
that. So here's the
yeah.
thing, man. I know I'm gonna people are gonna jump on me over in the chat. So chat, bear with me when I'm saying this, and you'll see why I say what I say. All right. So I'm gonna speak my mind. Everybody knows that. Where's
Oh
matter
yeah,
of fact, I should get my
they're speaking their mind. Carolyn just went off about Michael Monster Todd's match.
oh, is that my girl Carolyn? Yeah, I'm gonna go see her
Yes.
next month.
Oh yeah.
Here's the thing. Here's my soapbox. I got a bar. I'm gonna start bringing a bar of soap next to me. So when I say soapbox, I'm gonna go like that. So here's my soapbox. I understand that you need entertainment. I get that, but nobody wants to pay money to see strict rules.
No,
If
not
the
strict.
referees,
At
I
least
tell you what.
consistent rules though. Consistent rules we want,
Mhm.
right?
Well, you and I got into the sport. We were taught listen to the ref,
Mhm.
follow the ref's
Yep.
instructions. No big deal. If the ref says don't move, you don't fucking move. If you do, you will get a foul in the ref script. Problem is, these referees aren't holding it because, well, we want to make sure the crowd sees a match. I'm like, okay, so you're gonna fucking ditch the rules just so the crowd can see a match. If you're gonna do it, then you gotta do it on both sides. If you're gonna do that, you can't have it one way. So if fucking people are pushing each other and you're taking the strap off in the referee grip, no, it's a fucking foul. Don't touch my strap.
Oh, yeah.
And the referee should be standing up. But I don't know, like you just said, if some of these referees are like afraid what they might happen to them. It's like going, okay, I don't mind a little loose rules. I don't mind it, but don't get to a point where it gets sloppy.
Yeah,
At
exactly.
least with the strict rules, you're fucking like you're on point because like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
You better be, because we
Yeah, but
all grew up with the
yeah,
strict
we
rules. We all grew
did,
up
but
on that.
and the only rules that they're supposed to make a little more lenient is small elbow bobbles. Like
Mhm.
small little bobbles with no position gained. That's
Right.
really the only slack that needs to be given to have looser rules.
Right.
Everything else should be consistent, though, like consistent. And you can't call on one person, but not call it on another person, which I'm seeing constantly. I don't know if they're trying to get more out of the matches. Maybe they were worried about Devin being too dominant. He got fouled they fouled him with his elbow in the middle of the pad, not off the pad or nothing. He was in a winning position, and they originally fouled him for shoulder under the pad. And then they did the replay and they changed it to an elbow foul.
Hmm.
But it was a made up call at this point because the original call was for shoulder under the table.
So if you're saying, and here, let me just say this: if you're saying that they might be too dominant, or Devin might be too dominant, I'm
Mhm.
sorry, the most dominant person right now is Levon. He ain't been pinned yet. They don't do that to him.
Yeah, that's right. I
I
know.
mean, if I'm calling a spade, they don't do that
Yeah.
to him.
But
So we
that's what I
can't really use
survived.
that as like, well, Devin's be too dominant. I think Devin's probably the most active puller we have right now,
Yeah, I agree.
pulling in multiple weight classes and that kind of stuff. I still don't think that's fair, but
No,
whatever.
no, but yeah, I know.
Um, or I only say that before everybody jumps my shit. I only say that is because now if you got Devin, if he's holding two titles, for example, if he was holding a 253-pound title and a 231, then it's like, what the fuck? I mean, we're just gonna be sitting here waiting because he's holding both titles just so he can gain weight to go pull a super heavyweight.
Yeah, yeah.
How does
No,
that discourage the rest of that
that's
particular class? He's supposed to be the champion in. You see what
yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah. Oh yeah,
That's
that's
all I'm saying.
oh no, I agree. I agree with you. The thing is I look at this ref and I know probably people from East versus West are pissed at me for talking about it or saying my piece on it. But the thing is I'm going to continue wanting to watch it. But if I have to get angry, or it's either the refs are that bad, which I don't believe. I believe they are the best refs in the world, or they're totally fucking biased. So, and then there's a third option. They're scared to make certain calls, right? And
Don't be scared. You got a job to do.
I
Like,
know.
okay, so like, at what point do you want to say, okay, do you want a good match or you just want like, to make sure, oh, let's just kind of stretch this out. That's bullshit too, because after what I heard with Levon in that gimmick match or wherever the fuck it
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
I didn't watch it. So I heard it was like a match before the, debut match, and it was after the Morozov and Vitaly match, and they kind of squeezed that one in there, and it was like, oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know, but
And LeBron got hurt, and I guess, yeah, you know what? I didn't end up watching. I turned it off right after the Morozov Vitaly match. But I heard that he got hurt anyway. Yeah, someone said that LeBron got hurt. Now there's all kinds of rumors going around now. So, and then I should go back and watch because I think didn't he get pinned by Krill? I don't know. I thought he got pinned.
I think I don't know. I
But it,
saw an apology from England, and like Robert Baxter was sitting next to him, and then some other guy was sitting on the other side, and we apologized for the way it happened. We thought it'd be a good idea because the fact that the event was in Georgia, the
yeah,
king of the hill right now is from Georgia, so why not have him on there?
yeah,
That kind of
exactly.
deal.
It's
So
almost like an
I get
honor
that.
thing. It's an honor thing. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I understand that, but just it's whatever. I get
Yeah.
it. So what else is on the docket for tonight?
Well, I'm curious. So I've been I was studying it. It's old news already, but this Greg Sharp comment.
Oh, hold
I
on, wait
mean,
a minute. If we're gonna do that,
yeah, we better. Okay.
I'm empty. Let me go refill, and then we can touch base on that. Excuse
No
me,
problem.
y'all.
No problem, brother. Ah, thanks everybody in the chat tonight. We got good numbers. It's awesome. Nice. Just waiting on Jody. Yeah. Yeah, sorry, chat. I shouldn't complain about East versus West, but you know what? Gotta do it. Gotta do it. Reffing gets brutal sometimes. Looking over the chat here. Oh, I know. Oh, maybe he does though. He was doing a program with Greg. Yeah. So I think so, Drew. But either way, I haven't really got to talk much about it, so I wouldn't mind talking about it because I think a statement where you ban people is pretty messed up. So
All right.
I was just talking to the chat, Jody. Yeah.
What's up, chat? I know they want to. I mean, I can't explain. I spent my whole birthday dealing with this. I spent my 49th birthday dealing with this, right? So the day of the announcement number one was I shit you not, Brian. I probably talked between 15 and 20 people, either phone call, text, Facebook Messenger, Instagram Messenger, whatever. After that first thing.
Yeah,
so
personal.
I got my tea ready. I got my cheese and crackers. Fire away.
Okay. Well, I mean, I swear I've heard him lecture other promoters and banning, and I mean, I swear he was last year. I heard him on a podcast just saying everything that a promoter should say, right? And then like what my biggest thing is because like the thing is the ban thing happened, that interview or whatever he did, announcement he made or whatever,
right?
But no one really talked about out loud exactly why. Like why do you get so mad at armed guys?
I think the whole community in here, and just so we're clear, people, this is not me bashing. This is not a bashing Greg Sharp.
No, that's not what I'm trying to do either. I'm just trying to talk.
Hashtag, as Carolyn, hashtag TATF. We all know what that means. So what am I saying? These are the facts. So we're in a group chat. We, as in the There's the Armed Guards event coming up the same weekend as Winter Blast, and those are on the Supermatch Series card. You know, Team USA versus Team UK. We have our own little group chat, right?
Yeah.
So they've been putting out videos. If you haven't seen them, like the AI, the poster flyers are like
I've
badass.
seen some of that stuff. I laugh
The
at it.
videos are
Yeah.
badass. Well,
Yeah.
if you don't know Armed Guards, they like to poke fun at you.
Yep.
I'm okay with it because it's
Me
like,
too.
okay, it's fun. I have a sense of humor, but
Mhm.
sometimes when you're a promoter, you're gonna get shit thrown at you when you're a puller. I got people who don't like me, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna mention his name, but
No.
they know who I'm talking about. Carolyn, you know who I'm talking about. Certain people like to sit there and just attack me for whatever reason, but
Yeah.
that's neither here nor there. But armed guys like to sit there and do the jokey joke stuff. You gotta understand that. So
Yep.
they made an AI video. It had Greg Sharp. Greg Sharp was in it, and I'm in it toward the
For
end.
a
I didn't know
second.
about it. What's that?
For a second, I think I seen him in it though. Like
Yeah,
it wasn't even
he
a
was in
big
the
thing.
video, and it was about the topic was about the banning thing and that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
if you want to venture there, we can. But
Yeah.
just to get everybody caught up
Oh,
on
this is at
the
least
banning thing.
this is good.
So you know, um, that video got out. It got shared. But when I saw it, I didn't know it got shared until somebody else got a hold of me and goes, "Man, that's kind of harsh." I'm like, "What?" And it showed to me, I was like going, "Oh shit, I didn't know that." I mean, made it out on social media. I thought it was just between us groups
Yeah.
out there. So
Yeah.
either way, it got out. So me being the person I am, I was coming to Greg as a friend. I said, "All right." So I sat there and messaged him saying, "Hey, just so you know, there's a video floating out there, and it has you in it, and I'm in it toward the end." So he texted me back saying, "Yeah, and I told him I had nothing to do with that. Now, it's funny because he went directly toward me and Ryan Grondin from
Yeah.
98%.
Yeah. I know him.
And
Yeah.
I don't know if he's still at the time, I'm not sure if he was still upset because well, let me go further back and then this statement will make sense.
Mhm.
You are aware about the house, right?
Yep. That's what I
Okay,
mean. That's why
so
I figured talk to you too about it.
right. So we were at the time we we're all ready to go film in April. And what needs to be said first is that I made a commitment to both people. I made a commitment to Ryan Grondin, and this was January of 2024. Because every year Winter Blast is late March. I said, you know what? Something always came up, but I couldn't make it. We've been talking about it for the last 3 years.
It's
I
a big
said, look here,
event.
man. I will make sure and make it a point to make it in 2025. Cool, no big deal. Fast forward to 2025. It's in March, no big deal. Now, that came up before the even house was even a thought. Okay. Springtime last year, the houses were in talks. Okay, fine. Fast forward. Then we're talking, okay, well, hey, how about we start filming in December? And at that point, Jamie Shelton and myself were like, we're the captains and that kind of thing. And, Jamie said, hey, probably not a good time. It's family. He's a family guy, young girl. I mean, my kids are adults. So, I mean, but still, yes, family time.
Yeah.
I get it. Probably not a good time. So it went from there to like, okay, what about February? I'm thinking, yeah, February, Okay, what about April? Okay, April's cool. Give us a date. He
Yep.
sat on it for a while. Meanwhile, I was talking with I had to, turn down some opportunities.
You
Like,
wanted to go to Winter Blast. You already had it planned. Yeah.
well, I got a call from Chris and William for Knuckles Up,
Yeah.
and they wanted me to pull in another event. I guess their next event was scheduled to be in April, but that might have got scrapped. But they wanted me to be on that card. It would have been Knuckles Up #6.
Nice.
I'm like, okay, and they already had a date set. That's the difference. Some promoters already set their dates, right?
Yep.
So, and I'm not breaking down the fourth wall, people. I'm just,
Yeah,
letting you
days
know
are in
because
stone. Yeah.
right. So now that's probably not a thing now. It may go to a different month, whatever. So I told them, I was like, well, you do know. I'm like, oh crap, this is good. I'm pulling the house, but let me let Greg know. Keep the country, keep the
Yep.
communication lines open. So
Yep.
I said, hey, Greg, guess what? I got an awesome opportunity. And I mean, hell, who doesn't want to be on Knuckles Up, right? Because if I get a brass knuckle
Everybody.
as a trophy, that's pretty cool.
I,
Can't go on the plane with
I
it,
want
but
to go to
still, it'd be
qualifiers
cool.
next year. I want to try to qualify next year. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So I'm telling Greg all about this. He goes, hey, well, that's fine and dandy and all, but I don't really want you to do that. I don't want you to get hurt. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I get it. I respect you. I commit to you first, so no big deal. I respectfully talked to Chris and William and told them the situation. They said, "Hey, thanks for being proactive." But my thought was that did I just shoot myself in the foot for a future opportunity from those guys? And they're like, "No, you're
Maybe
good.
not. Probably not.
We'll meet up.
Yeah.
We'll talk down the road. No
Yeah.
big deal."
Mhm.
All right, cool. At least that's in play. Go about my business. And keep in mind, we fill in April. Between now and then, you got Winter Blast, you got the North America Championships, March 8th. You got the Arnold coming up, right? In a couple weeks, few weeks,
Yeah.
whatever. You got IFA Nationals, was about to be on one of the weekends we were going to film. So there's that. So it's like, I'm passing up all these opportunities, man.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm thinking, okay, well, Greg, set a fucking date. Please set a
That's
date.
right. That's right.
Finally,
That's
the dates were
insane.
set. Not a problem. Cool. Well, guess what? It doesn't interfere with Winter Blast. That was my original,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, all right, cool. No big deal. Now the arm gosh thing comes into play because it was like a cherry on top situation,
Yeah.
and they're like they approached me, hey, I know you've been wanting to, compete at one of our events, so we thought, hey, we're gonna come over, Team UK USA versus Team UK, have it out, hey, by all means, we want you on the card.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let me know who I'm pulling, yada yada yada. Everything is good. Cool. So now I got my opponent. They make these awesome flyers. If you haven't seen them, they're pretty badass. So they make these awesome flyers. And next thing you know, as any puller would do, and Brian and everybody in the chat, I don't know who's watching right now, but y'all understand this. About 90% of us understand that not all of us have sponsors, okay? So we got to do everything we can to promote ourselves.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm getting my name out there. I'm promoting myself, promoting the match, this,
Yep.
that, and the other. Now, you got to understand this with Greg. He's also involved in all these different projects, and he's doing projects
He's
in
all over the
Texas and
place. Yeah.
Nashville, Tennessee. So his ear is not always to the ground in the arm wrestling community. And I think that's why
It hurts
sometimes he
him.
gets himself in trouble,
Yeah, because he just schedules it randomly out of nowhere and
Right. He
expects
just
everyone to
comes
bow
in
down
here
to him.
and he's trying to pick up where he left off. And sometimes
Yeah.
if you miss in our sport, and tell me if you agree with this, Brian. In our sport, if you miss 3 months, it's almost like missing 3 years.
It is. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because so much
You're out of the
happens,
loop.
right? So
Yep.
many moving parts. So in any event, I get a call, and it was just funny because it was like the night before last month. It was the night before Knuckles Up. So he goes, "Hey, what's up, dude?" He goes, "So I see you got a flyer. You're gonna be pulling, at this arm guys event." I'm like, "Well, yeah." He goes, "I thought we talked about that." I said, "Well, hold on for a second. Mind you, there's no contract. Okay, no contract.
Yep. That's
So,
right. We're
and
not
again,
obligated.
ladies and gentlemen, these are facts. These ain't me just pissed
Yeah.
off. These made me upset, but these are facts. So, got to get that out there. So now we're talking. I say, yeah, well, they gave me an opportunity. I couldn't, I'm not going to get the logistics of what it is, but
Mhm.
they gave me an opportunity that I can't pass up. I'm like, dude, well, again, I don't think you know how much money, this is Greg Sharp talking. I don't think you understand how much money I put into this. I was like, I get that. Trust me, I know. If I get hurt, it ruins production. I get that. I said, I'll tell you what, I'll meet you halfway. How about if, you know, I'll pull a super match, but I won't pull a tournament? Kind of meet him halfway,
Yeah, I
right?
know what you mean. Like, yeah.
And
Go
yeah,
all
he was
out.
like, no, that's not gonna work. I don't think you understand where I'm coming from. I'm like, dude, I'm like, what, like I feel like now
You're
you're
taking
putting your thumb
opportunities
on me.
away
Like,
from
what
me.
the fuck? I
Yeah.
know we talked about this,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's like going, there's no exclusive contract for me to sign. I'm not even getting paid, by the way. I'm not getting paid for this, by the way. Let's
Yeah.
get that straight. Okay. So now we're kind of, we're going back and forth. What if you get hurt? Well, what if I don't? What if you do? I said, okay.
Yeah.
I said, look, Greg, how about this? And this is where I started to feel kind of funny. And I'm starting to get a little negative now
Yeah.
because he goes, all right, I told him, I was like, going, so what if I get hurt, like if I'm at work because of my job and what I do? I work at the juvenile detention center. I mean, I got to cuff kids, detain them. If I got to put them down and all that kind of stuff, I got to
Yeah.
do what I got to
It's
do.
rough on them.
What,
Yeah.
right. What if I get hurt doing my job? And he goes, well, we can make a storyline out of that. What if I get hurt training for the show? No, no problem. We can make a storyline out of that too. I said, okay, Greg, what if I'm
Of
at
course
this,
it does.
we're filming at our location and I get hurt, doing that kind of stuff. No problem. We can do it. We can, we can edit that out. We can make a storyline. I'm said, okay, so what I'm understanding is that I can get hurt on your terms, but not on somebody else's terms.
Yeah. That's
So if
what
I
some,
get hurt at a tournament that's not yours, then you got a problem with that. But if I get hurt at one of your establishments, or if I get hurt at work, it's all fine and dandy.
yeah.
That's when I kind of took a step back and go, okay, this shit ain't fucking. You
It's
gotta be
not
kidding me,
lining.
right?
Things are not adding up properly. No, and I'd
Right.
be the same way. I'd be like, yeah, this seems shady to me.
So I was like, what in the actual fuck?
Yeah.
Hang on, chat. There's more. So I said, okay, I tell you what. Let me sleep on it. We'll talk first thing in the morning. I want to get up early in the morning and talk about that so I can watch, Knuckles Up. And had a hard time sleeping at night. 'Cause I'm thinking I spent the last 2 years with this gentleman, right? And by the way, he's done good things for me, but the way he was treating me, he probably should have done more. But nonetheless, I called him the next morning, that's Saturday, and I was like, hey man, let's talk this out. I said, hey, so I thought it over and I was weighing the pros and cons, right? And you gotta understand something. When there's no contract involved, you can I mean, it was more of a handshake deal per se, a respect thing. And I respect the guy up until these recent events. Then I kind of lost respect for him. Now, I'm looking at it kind of going, okay, what are the benefits? Okay. Like I said before, we have to promote ourselves, right?
Yeah.
We got to build our own brand. And pullers, I don't know who's watching the chat, but hear me when I say this. Sometimes you got to go out on your own and build your brand. We all capture videos or moments and stuff, and then we put them on our pages and stuff. And then, promoters are looking at that going, hey, what's that guy doing there? Or what is she doing? She's pretty good. Let me reach out to her. Hey, we love to have you on our card. That's how you build yourself.
Yeah, you have to be seen. If you're not
right.
seen, you got no way to who's gonna know you?
Right. And you can't do that with Greg's events. I'm sorry, because it's closed caption. It was closed circuit because they're filming.
Yeah.
It's his league. He can do what the fuck he wants. Let's get that straight. He can do what he wants. But you got to understand, it's like going, bro, I got some good wins on people, but it's all word of mouth because we can't have our phones.
Yeah.
Can't have our phones and freaking film it like normal people would. But like I said,
you don't even know if it's going to get released anyway. What season is he on?
Right now, they're about to start season 4. He ain't got season 2 out yet.
I've seen season 1.
Yeah. And season 1 was in 2022. If you're doing the math,
I know that. That. That's what I'm saying. So if you wait on that to get famous, you're going to be waiting a long fucking time, buddy.
Well, then he starts saying, he starts dangling. He starts saying things. It's like, okay, this is more. I don't know if it's a desperation, but he starts saying things that kind of bother me. Because then he says, well, if you want to compete for certificates and medals, then yeah, go to Arm Gods or Winter Blast and do that. But this is what I can do for you. I can have you on the first ever, reality TV show from the World Series of Arm Wrestling, and millions of people will see you. And I'm saying to myself, I'm like, hell, Greg, thousands of people don't even see me now under your umbrella because you don't release nothing, man.
Yeah, that's right.
And I'm not, like I said, you do what you want. It's your show. You do what you want. But when people are kind of going, bro, when's season 2 coming out? And it's funny because anytime he goes live on a podcast, I guarantee you look in the comment section, someone's going to ask that question. When's the season 2 coming out? He just doesn't acknowledge that. No. So that red flag number 1. Yes. If he doesn't acknowledge that. Yeah. So
makes me wonder how connected he is with this TV deal, though. Because
I mean, we all can speculate it's never going to happen, this, that, and the other. But it's like, bro, like you personally came to me, to my town, my house. We filmed stuff. Season 2 was going to be better than season 1 because season 1 was just him voicing over matches. That's a hard sell. So if you're trying to go to those different networks or whatever,
it wasn't that entertaining. It wasn't.
And say, hey, this is season 1. Wait till season 2. What the fuck is season 2? I got my own opinions. What happened to season 2? That's my own opinions. I'm not gonna share that though, but I got a good suspicion that ain't coming out because I kind of have an idea of why, but that's neither here nor there. But season 3 in editing, what we doing with that? So anyway, so I'm thinking, okay, well, fuck, dude, like, how am I supposed to promote myself if I'm under you? And I worked with this guy for the last 2 years now. Like I said, again, he's done good things for me. I thought he could have did better. And just the way he was treating me, and I'm supposed to be the so-called face of the fucking company, the face of the World Series of Arm Wrestling. I
Yeah.
can't tell you how many flyers I got out there with my poster, face on there and come to his events and all that kind of stuff. And I had a good time, don't get me wrong. But
Mhm.
it's like going, why would you do that? And I'm kind of going, well, crap, am I being treated the way I should be treated? So I started asking myself this question. I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do what's right for me. Now, he saw it as me just doing a one-off. What I mean by that is that it was just going to be arm guards and winter blast and nothing else. No, I got other stuff lined up
Yeah, I'm not putting
for
the
the
whole
calendar
house
year. It
on.
ain't just the
Yeah.
one, super match and call it good. Matter of fact, that ball cap you got on,
Hmm.
that company and myself have been in talks, but that's neither here nor there. But my
That's
point
good.
being is that when I came out, I was like, what the fuck, dude? So I decided to go the opposite way. We cut ties. I'm no longer a part of the house because the one thing he said to me the night before, I asked him, I was like, so if I go through with this super match, does this mean I'm out of the house? He goes, at this point, yes. So I'm like, wow, okay.
Wow.
Never
Yeah.
thought I'd hear that from him.
Yeah, and because you did, well, that's basically,
So I guess from that standpoint, he
yeah.
felt betrayed. If he did, I can't tell him a certain way. Like I can't tell him how he
Can't
should
feel
feel, right?
betrayed, bro. Like you planned Winter Blast. Yeah, you wanted to go to the Knuckles up if it happened, but he
Mhm.
didn't put his dates in stone at all, and he can't expect you to say, "Okay, I'm going to plan nothing. I'm going to have no career, and I'll just wait on you because now you feel it's a good time to we're going to do this season 4."
Oh, it gets
I,
better.
I know, but I like from what I'm hearing, it's just like really, like you know what I mean, bro? Like, yeah.
It gets better. And like I said,
Yeah.
guys, this ain't me bashing Greg. These are
No,
straight
no,
facts.
but it's good to
Now,
know anyway. And we knew that you were the face, kind of. You were
mhm,
working with them. You were in the house. That's why I wanted to ask, like, bring it up to you. I thought it would
right.
be best information, right? So,
So again, no contract.
yeah.
Now, in that conversation, like, well, Greg, hold on. So when's a good time for me to compete then if I can't compete this, that, and the other? He goes, after June 28th, which is, the kickoff for season 4 of the WSA, because that'll be their Riverside qualifier, right? And the finale will be there. So I'm thinking, you mean to tell me that I'm going to sit out half of the year? We compete. We're athletes, man. We have to compete. That means I would have sat out half the year. You know what I mean? Think about that for a
Oh, no.
second.
Yeah, that's going to hurt your arm wrestling skills as
I
well.
would have sat out half the year.
Mhm.
All I'm doing is training, and truth be told, before all this was going on, like on the tail end of last year, 2024, it was the conversation was more as just come in healthy.
Mhm.
That's how it started. Then as we got, going on and stuff. Okay, cool. Now I'm thinking, all right, so I made my decision. I made my decision. I'm going this way. He's going that way. We even talked about it. This is a business decision. This will not hurt our friendship. Cool, no big deal. I felt better once he's told me that because then I
Yeah.
didn't want no weirdness. And
Yeah,
even
I
then,
know what you
it's
mean.
weird now. So, and then
Nowadays.
Paul
Yeah.
Cruz got involved. I guess he approached Paul from what I hear, and the same spiel. And Paul's like, "Oh yeah, I got no problem. Let me finish up these stuff I got." Arnold, he's going to the Arnold.
Yep.
He's also on the card of Armed Gods, and kind of gave him the same spiel he gave me. Well, I don't want you to do that because of injuries. And Paul's like, I'm going to these events.
Like,
When
cool.
I'm done,
Mhm.
you know, you still want me, I'm there. That's basically how that went down.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, fucking, the video came out. Now we can go back to the video thing.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's pick up from there. Armed guys, they like to joke around, jab people. They've made videos of Neil Pickup and Travis and Michael and Devin, and the list goes on and on. So Plank off of Bond. They like to sit there and just make fun of people. No big deal. I mean, I don't take it
Yep.
that personal.
No,
It's
I think
like
it's good
whatever.
for arm wrestling, actually. It's actually good. It's like
Right. 'Cause if you
humor.
saw Artem's video, that shit was fucking funny.
It was
But
hilarious. Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
nonetheless, getting back to the original story, original topic. And I told Greg, hey man, just so you know, I didn't have anything to do with it, but it's out there. Automatically, the fingers he's throwing daggers at me and Ryan Grande. And I'm
Yeah.
like going, dude, I had nothing to do with this. Like, if you really think, and I got the Texas right here, and I'm like going, hey man, I'm just letting you know, I had nothing to do with that. But if you really think that has something to do with that, that just tells me where our friendship is now.
Yeah, it's
And I
true.
got to take in consideration, maybe he was still kind of sore about the situation, me jumping ship or whatever, if you want to call it that, or me leaving him to go
Mhm.
over there and pursue another option. and then more coming down the pipe. So that's how I felt. Thinking, all right, you know what? Whatever, dude. You do you. Well, a day or two go by, and then he comes out with this the video of all videos. And it, guys, it's
Yeah,
still early in
stupid,
the calendar year.
stupid.
And he said, and this is why we don't make decisions based on emotion, right? He goes, we all saw the video. If any, first it was if anybody, competes at Arm Gods, and that's what the word on the street was. They were banned from WSA indefinitely. Then it became Armed Gods, and if you compete in the tournament, just banned indefinitely. Okay, this is where I got a problem because my initial thought was, if he's mad at me, come at me.
Yeah.
Don't threaten the rest of the community, man. If you're mad because I left you, all that kind of stuff, and I decided to do, and you felt jaded or you felt slighted, I get that.
Yeah.
But come to me with that. Don't like punish anybody else. They had nothing to do with that. Because now you got people who are planning to go to this event, and all of a sudden, they're like going, wait a minute, I don't know what the hell is going on, but why am I getting banned all of a sudden?
I know.
Not to mention, this gentleman named Greg Sharp has been on podcasts before saying how he doesn't like it when Waffle's doing their bullshit. He said it himself, and now look what you're doing now.
I know. I know. But
What the fuck, man? So when that
I
came
think
out,
he killed himself. I think he just destroyed his organization, though. I'm telling you.
when you say stuff like that, once it's out there,
Yeah.
you can't unsee it
No.
and you can't unhear it, right? And that's just the way it is. Right now, is he going to recover? I don't know. Time will tell. Whatever. If Marvin Cohen can come back, so can he. You know, but I'm kind of going, what the fuck, dude? So of course, the minute that came out, man, I can't tell you, my phone was blown up from phone calls, text messages, this, that, emails. I think I got a pigeon that came, drop something off for me from somewhere. I don't know what the fuck was going on, but I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. And they wanted to know my stance on that and how I felt. And they wanted to know, was it true you got banned? I was like, well, do the math. I'm not going back on my word. I'm going to Winter Blast. I'm going to Arm Blast. So you do the math. I guess I am banned, right? So that's all that was going on. I think was it the next day? It's either the next day or the day after. He got on Matt Conley's show and said, okay. So somebody must have gotten his ear and goes, Greg, chill the fuck out. You're fucking doing damage to your fucking name and your promotion if you go through with this, right? Then it became where, okay, now the final is that you're banned for the 2025 season. Well, technically, if you think about it, it's not a ban. Just let's call suspension because ban is ban. You ain't coming back.
That means you're done. Yeah.
Yeah, if you
Forever.
come
He said
back,
it
then
too.
it's like, okay, suspended, whatever.
He said that too. And he said, I don't care if it's 20 years. And
Yeah, he just like, okay, now you're talking with your emotion. You're
yeah,
pissed off over a fucking meme. And like I said, who are we to have a right to say how we can and can't feel about something like that?
he can get
That's
upset.
not for us to
But it's
debate.
silly, though. But it's
If
silly.
he's mad, he's mad. That's what it is. What it is,
You're right. You're right.
But it's like going. But for him to sit there and do that, it's like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Like, you gonna punish everybody over that? Now, with that being said, about the bands, who else was on the card? Who was in the fucking main event of the Arm Bars card? Corey West
Oh, yeah. That's
dipped
right.
out. He canceled.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So he's no longer pulling for the heavyweight championship at Arm Bars. He pulled his name out. Well, I mean, and I don't know. I can't speak for
Might
Corey,
be
but
different reasons. It might be.
if
Yeah.
that man can make 10 grand at the finals, then
Yeah.
would you fucking stay? There's a
I
good
know.
shot,
And he knows he's gonna. Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
never say never. I mean, there's a couple guys that can probably give him a run for his money, and I've seen it before. But
Yeah.
still, I mean, it's a good shot. He can make a lot of money, left and right-handed. So I'm thinking, okay, cool. Good on him. Hope that works out for him.
Yeah.
So we found a replacement as of 3-4 hours ago. We found a replacement to pull Mindaugas Doskus. So good old Nick
Okay.
Stone. Nick Stone's going to take his place.
Nick
So
Stone. Okay.
Nick Stone's going to pull
He's a
for
beast.
the Armed Guys Heavyweight Championship. So good on him.
Yeah.
But me going forward, as far as WSA, it's probably a good idea for me to kind of back away from those guys for a year, just to
Yeah.
clear my head. I don't want nothing to do with that. And you know what? Anybody who decides to go pull for them, go ahead. Like it's not like he has crappy tournaments. the
No,
finals is where
we
you
got
want
it.
to be.
Mhm.
Because the finals is like, like I went to the finals in November last year, and it was like a who's who.
Mhm.
Like it was like a national as far as talent pool. It was kind of like that. And they
Mhm.
had money to give out, so it was cool. I think he said something like payouts are going to be like 10th place.
Mhm.
So I mean, if you want to go out there, just go to qualifier, do your thing. They go to the finals in November.
The thing
Take
is,
top 10. You got money going home with you. So
yeah, the thing is though, is like we were just talking at the beginning of the pod about how our sport is just too small for
mhm,
inner conflicts and this and that. And I mean, as a promoter, the last thing I'm a promoter too. Actually, I'm heavily into promoting. I do events and I love doing them. But the
mhm.
last thing I'm gonna do is throw a big divide wall up and try to make my pool of people that are going to come to my events smaller because I want to grow that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, I mean, Greg I think he was way too emotional and
He
he
was.
shouldn't, yeah, he shouldn't have reacted so fast. He should have been emotional. Maybe he could have said that shit to people like, people he was involved with. But that video that he made, I think, honestly, like, I, I'm pretty good with this stuff. I think he just destroyed himself. And I really do because we don't in arm wrestling we don't forget. Like I remember the time this guy screwed this guy, and I remember that. Oh, Matt just had an issue. He didn't get paid for the match he did, and I remember this other guy. You know what I mean? So I don't forget, and I'll always remember, and I'll
It'll
always remember
be
that
fresh in
video
your minds. You could say
forever.
Lorraine. You could say Lorraine Jenkins. What's people going to think?
Yeah,
How
yeah,
many people you screwed at the Great American
yeah.
Bash,
Oh yeah,
last
that
year?
Kentucky. What about that Kentucky event? Like I don't know who was responsible for that, but oh.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well,
So
he was saying it was the other guy. Was the other guy Tim or I don't remember the guy's
Chris,
name.
they're like pointing the
Chris.
finger at one another. It's like,
Yeah, yeah, you're
seriously,
both responsible.
right?
You
And they
know.
split. They kind of did this
Yep.
thing too. So,
Exactly.
but
Exactly.
that's a different story for a
But
different day with those
no, I
guys.
know,
But
but it's like
yeah,
haven't we had enough of this shit? You know what I mean?
well, okay. So here, I want you to. I'm gonna ask this question, or I'm gonna make a statement, and I
Yeah.
want you to look at everybody in the chat and chat. Hear me when I say this. I want y'all to respond. Thumbs up if you agree. Okay. So the question is, how come our sport can't get mainstream, right? Because I mean, now you got slap boxing, which is overtaking us, right? If we
Yep.
quit this bickering and bullshitting with us, if these promoters would get along, stop
Yeah.
having two nationals, get along for once, you know, for if we're all here for one common goal, right? That's to make our sport better, to make it better. Listen, man, Winter Blast is the biggest tournament in the United States,
Huge.
and it's not even a national. So what does
Yeah.
that tell you? The two nationals that we do have combined don't even touch them. What does that tell you? I'm
Oh yeah.
sitting up here in Oregon and I'm looking at the Auto Open. Fuck me, 700 people. I'm looking at last year's Canadian Nationals up in Montreal, Quebec, over 900 entries. What are we doing wrong, USA? What the fuck are we doing wrong?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep. No, I know. I agree.
If
Well,
some of
Winter
these
Blast,
promoters
they
would put
take the whole year though, and they advertise the whole year. They don't stop. They talk about it for 12 months and they advertise for 12 months
right,
and they do what they need to do to have the biggest event in the United States.
everybody's helping out. Not
Yes.
this, we got some promoters who don't like others, so they sit there and try to fucking sabotage them by, oh, don't go to this event. It's like, that's why we fucking can't go to sport. I'm only speaking for the United States portion because we got too many people fucking, we
No
got
different
the
here.
promoters, and then we got the smaller promoters, and then we got the nickel and dime promoters.
Yeah.
But they're like, jabbing at each other. I'm like, what the fuck for? Fucking come together, make this shit big as possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you like the sport like you guys say you do, then you would knock that shit off.
Well, imagine if we all supported each other and we all advertised each other's tournaments. All the tournaments would be big. Like they would all have better
Right.
numbers. And then we
Now,
wouldn't have this
granted,
feeling. Well, no, guys get the feeling. I have had pollers tell me, oh, I
mhm,
don't want to compete there because then you know what? I'm faithful to this promoter and I know how he's gonna feel if we all go to that. You know what I mean? It's like now
right.
you're putting up fucking walls and now you got little groupies, like I got my groupies, you got your no, it's like let's just all come together, and then everybody can share, all the events, and we can all
And
meet together all the time. Yeah.
not everybody's a promoter.
Mm-hmm.
I know it seems easy to do
Not
until you start, when you get both feet in, you realize how hard it is.
and be
It's
willing to
not
do
easy.
it not to make money, because
That's
that's
another
the
thing.
best way, because you're not gonna really do good. And if you're in it to make money, you're gonna be a bad promoter, and you're gonna have guys want to cut your throat after because they didn't get something you promised, or you know what I mean. Just hold events and do your best to recoup the money that you put in. And if you can come close to that, that's fucking awesome. But if you're just about money, don't promote, because
Yeah, stop
I
screwing
never
people
see the
over,
way.
quit screwing the athletes over,
Yes.
knock that shit off,
Yeah, exactly.
But again, it's just like, and I say that stuff because I'm real passionate about what I do.
Mhm.
Because at the end of the day, when I first got into the sport in 2010, it was just a hobby for me. Here I am 15 years later. I'm in my 15th year. I'm thinking, the
Good
fuck
chunk
is
of your
going
life.
on, And
Part of your life. Yeah.
pretty much,
Yeah.
So it's like, I look at it like going, come on, people, just be smarter than that, be better than that. Whatever fucking personal gripe you got against, throw that shit away. Life is too fucking short. I know that firsthand. Life can be real short. So knock all that stuff off and say, hey, you know what? Whatever we got, whatever beef we got, let's squash it.
We
How can I help you? How can you help me? Go forward.
You want to know something, bro? I had a big beef with a promoter here. So I'm a promoter here, and there's a
Mhm.
guy named Fraser Benoit. He's here.
Ah,
Okay. And me and him were both promoters, but we butted heads and we had a personality clash and everything. And it got so bad where I had people asking me if we can make up. Like, Brian, you're my good friend. Fraser's my good friend, but I don't feel comfortable. I don't want either one of you mad at me. So then they just stop you going to either one of our events. You know what I mean? A lot
right.
of people. So Frazier, he was actually good. I'm gonna give him kudos, even though I had a hard time. I mean, it's hard for me to say good stuff about him, but we're on a new path now. Hey man, how you doing?
Finally.
Hey brother.
Hey,
So
gotta get that one in. There we go.
yeah, there's the flex. Yeah.
Here.
Oh, I'm too
Uh,
broken. Brennan broke my elbow. So, but yeah. So anyway, he phoned me one night and wanted to bury the hatchet. And you know
Right.
what? I had good reasons to be pissed at him and not be his friend, and he had good reasons to not like me either. Because I'll admit I did something that could have pissed him off.
Mhm.
But we buried the hatchet, and we still our personalities. I don't think we're ever going to be best friends. But you know what? We buried the hatchet because it's what's best for arm wrestling. You know
And
what I
you're
mean?
being professionals about it. I
Yeah.
think so many
Yes.
people take it to the extreme where they get personal. You ain't got to be personal, man. Like, okay, here, we got so many arm wrestling organizations out there now, ever since the pandemic came and went, that the one thing you should not do is try to one up each other.
Yeah.
There's that thing that says stay in your lane, right? What makes things different? Montana Armbender, what do they do? It's almost like if you go there and compete, it's like you're being auctioned off. They
You're
throwing
getting
money at
paid.
you for a
You're
match.
getting paid. Yeah.
Nobody else is doing that, and nobody else should, because that's what makes them special.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
I agree.
what makes Arm God special? They got that big red light, beaming down on you. They got the fireworks. It makes them special. And the table's right in the middle of the area. The crowd is surrounding the table.
Yeah.
That's what makes them special. You know,
Yeah.
if you see purple, the first thing you think about, knuckles up, makes them special. East versus West, AWC, MAC,
Yeah.
they're special.
Have their
What
own
Neil's
niche.
doing in Arm Wars, special.
Yeah.
Even AWE down in Australia, they do
Yes.
things different. I've seen some matches inside an MMA cage,
Yeah. Yeah. I
just
seen that.
because that's who they are. The minute we try to be like somebody else is when we start losing it.
Yeah.
And that's why I think, with our sport, we are who we are. Slap fighting, why is it so popular? Besides, everybody wants to see somebody get knocked out and put to sleep, but they don't try to be like nobody else.
Yeah.
They are who they are.
Yeah. That's a
Arm
brutal
wrestling, we
sport.
are
Did
who
you
we are.
watch?
If we're boring, we're fucking boring, I guess. But
Did you
only the
watch
purists
that?
are gonna know. But this stuff we're doing now with the promoters, shortchanging, athletes money wise, or you got some of these nickel and dime promoters, throwing shade at other promoters. Stop. We will never get our sport off the ground if we continue to fight each other. Just saying.
I
All I
agree.
got to say is look at Canada. When their nationals got over 900 people,
Yep.
look at Ottawa Open. They got like, I don't know, 500, 600,
700.
700 people.
Yeah.
They doing something right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Winter Blast, over 500 entries last year. They're now in the national.
580 something, I think they had. Yeah.
And the two nationals, yeah, again, I'll say it again. The two nationals that we got in the States combined didn't even touch Winter Blast. That'll tell you something right there.
Mhm.
USA, knock it off, man.
Yeah, and you got the
Okay.
population. You could have over 1,000. You could be like, have you ever seen the WAF shit? They'll have like 16 tables set up and shit, or those
Yeah.
yeah, like you guys have the population for sure to do something like that. Like,
Mhm.
Yeah. What about down there, Matt? How's the numbers in Australia?
Yeah, it was nothing compared to the United States or Canada, but it is rising, which is amazing to see, especially over the last, so as I've been in the sport, probably coming up on 6 years, I think now. But where I was, where we started compared to where we are now, it's at least tripled in terms of the amount of people that are pulling all across the country, more clubs coming up all the time, more people coming along to training every week. Even on Sunday, we had, I think, 10 people that turned up for the first time. I mean, when I started, there was three of us, and now we're getting 40 people, 50 people coming along to training every week, which is just incredible.
Yeah. Well, that's good. We are growing. I mean, I see the growth, but I think here it's just about divides. Our numbers, I mean, the numbers that we're talking about, I think could be like Jody was saying, I think we could have huge numbers. I think
Yeah.
we could have events with 1,000 people at them. No problem.
Oh, easily. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't wait to see how Winter Blast goes this year.
Love you. Hey, wife's going
Yeah.
something.
I'm excited for Winter Blast because I've always wanted to go, and I finally get to
Yeah.
go and be a part of something that's like amazing. Where, because think about that. I mean, we're talking over 500 people. I mean, that's a long day as it is anyway. But I want to do it because I'm flying across country. I want to know, can this guy from the Pacific Northwest go to the East Coast and see how I fare? I like to put my skills up against some of those guys over there. I'm sure some of the guys probably think the same thing. I want to know if I can hang with those guys. I don't want to be, as we say, that big fish in a small pond. I want to get out of my backyard. I want to go explore. So that's why I kind of like to do that. And I get to compete against the international puller, a damn good one at that.
Yeah.
I get to compete against some badass pullers in the Northeast. I'm ready for it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you got to
especially
do a really big match last year. That was with that Adrian guy, right?
What's that?
Adrian Popescu. Isn't that who you pulled?
Arm Wars, Romania. So, and
Yeah.
and here's a quick story. Leading up to that match, I thought I knew what I was doing. I thought I knew. I'm like, okay, I got a game plan. We're good. And I got there and I gripped up. I'm thinking, okay, what I wanted to do, he shut down. So, I'm thinking, okay, it was my first taste of pulling somebody on an international level, a high power one at that. So, I go over there. I was pulling people from the United Kingdom. I was pulling people from Romania, you know, uh, Scotland, Australia, that kind of stuff. And I was like, wow. And you know what? That was an awesome experience for me because it made me think that, you know what? Just when you think you knew everything, you don't. And I remember the next morning after the big day, um, I'm sitting up here drinking coffee with Maynard Ninjas from the Netherlands, right? And just talking to him, the way he explained stuff, I was in awe. I'll give you an example. So we talk about, how many members, are on your team. This dude said, oh, we got about 30, 40 people in our club. So already, just the way that he worded that blew my mind. I'm like, well, damn, now I'm interested. So, he's teaching me some things on the table. We're just, exchanging words while everybody's still asleep. It's early in the morning. And I'm like, well, tell me something. What is it like at your training facility? He goes, well, we got about, I think he said like 7, 8 tables, whatever. And half the group will do table time, the other half will work out. And after the midway point, they swap.
Yeah.
I'm like, I was blown away the way he explained it to me. And so again, it just made me wonder. It's like going, this is why you want to pull, people you're not used to, because you
Different
can also
perspectives.
pick their brain, exchange training information, and all that kind of stuff. I like it. So I'm looking forward to pulling those guys at arm guys. I'm looking forward to competing, at a high level, master, whatever, open too at a winter blast. So I'm excited for it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Especially if you've got 500 entries and like if you win a class, like that's got to feel pretty good because you know that that class was stacked with hundreds of people and you were the one that came out on top versus a class with say 5 or 6 people and it's like, yeah, okay,
Right.
like yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, if
I've
you had
had
to
3
win
or 4,
20
and then
matches,
I actually like it when there's more because I get more time between rounds. When you get
yeah.
like 4, like super heavyweights, some small events, I'm lucky to have 3 opponents. So
Yeah.
I'm like up Brian Parliament. I'm like, do I get a fucking break, man? Like, especially if you get the bad, if you get the bad side of the bracket, and even if you win, I don't know. I was winning every match I won, but I for some reason I felt like I pulled every match or every other match. It was like, but if you got 10 guys or 12 guys, you pull. If you're good at what you do too, you can get that top roll real quick. Boom. Now I got 10 minutes. The arm gets good. Boom. Top roll. It's almost better to have more guys in a sense, actually. Less
Right.
guys,
Yeah.
just you get worked, man. It's like you're up, you're up, you're up, you're up, so
I remember watching
Conditioning.
Mario Tambakis competing in I think it was the Arizona State, and he literally he had a right arm match, and then as soon as that finished, he had to turn around, and there was a left arm match tipped on the table
because
directly
they'll do
behind
that.
him. He
They'll
had
run right and left it together sometimes. Yeah.
yeah,
Especially if you're in multiple classes too. That's where you get screwed, right? But
absolutely.
one thing we've changed recently, and the guys here are starting to like it and respect it, is we used to, as pros, we always have to wait all day, especially if you're a super heavyweight. It was always, youth, masters, grandmasters. Then you got amateurs all the
Ladies.
way through, ladies. Yeah, you got everything. It's like 8 o'clock at night when you pull, right? So the pros here were getting a little upset. So I said to myself, as a promoter, what do I think is fair? I said, you know what? We did our time, man. We've done our time. We've waited. Like we're professional. We've stepped it up. I think from now on, what we do is we run pros before the amateurs, and we do it because it actually goes faster. And then about halfway through the pros, we'll open up another table and we'll start amateurs. So you'll have like 2 pro tables or 1 pro table, but then we'll start a second or a third table as amateurs, like halfway through the pros. And that's what we do, and the guys are much happier. And not only that, the level is like you don't have the pros that sat there 9 hours standing, tired. Some of them dehydrated because they just never got to go for food or, what I mean. Now you got really good action because the pros are all well nutritioned, they're rested,
They
they're
got that
pumped.
adrenaline dump too.
Yes, and it's good for the amateurs, and this is the main reason actually I did it, because they need to learn. So then they can watch, they can study the cadences at the setups, they can watch the pros and really get a feel. You know what I mean? Oh, you know what? Man, I might try that in my mat when I get up there after, like it's more beneficial for arm wrestling in the amateurs if you run the pros first because they should be there studying and watching the matches. Now, tell me if I'm wrong, but why are we doing it fucking backwards for generations?
Yeah,
Um,
I'd say the main reason would be for the everyone comes to see the biggest guys, biggest and strongest guys, and it's like your main event kind of thing, and it's like you
I
want to
get
hold
it.
it back.
That's the only
And
reason, though.
yeah, pretty
I
much.
know, but that's a selfish reason, so I can't do it because I'm not promoting and putting on these events for that reason, unfortunately, right? So maybe that's what separates me from a big promoter, but it's like, it makes more sense and it's just better. Just a little change like that. I've seen big changes and even attitudes and everything at the event, like, and I've never had a complaint yet running it that way. So,
Mm.
well,
it's
I mean, how many times have you, ran a tournament and all of a sudden, you're the promoter, you're ready to hand out medals, and all of a sudden, oh yeah, so and so went home because
all the
the
time,
tournament took too
all the
long.
time,
And I
all the
always
time.
thought that if the open pullers went first, it set the tone.
Yep,
Then the amateurs can get something to be excited about. You know what I mean?
I agree. I agree.
Yeah,
It
we
does, and
run
it works that way.
when we run our tournaments, we run the class all the way through. Like the whole thing goes, you
Yes.
start, it's like, say it's under 80 kilos, right arm, it runs all the way through finals. You get the winner, you present the winners, the awards. Great. Okay, that class is done. Next, so they're not having to,
That's
like
not bad, though.
if you're under 80 kilos, let's say you're competing right and left, that party's done after the first hour or 2 hours. And it's like, okay, well, you can go and do whatever you want. Like you can go on the after pool tables. You don't have to hang around. Like you don't have to wait for the finals or anything later. It's like you've already finished your class.
Yes, I agree. Because I hate when they run. We're gonna run to the final three. I'm like, don't do that. Just run all the way through, man.
Yeah.
Do not because then now you're gonna make it longer than you have to. But sometimes it depends on who you got doing brackets. That plays a part. Are you doing like Aries? Are you doing paper brackets? That plays another part.
Mhm.
Who are your referees? That plays a part. So there's a lot of
Yeah. That's the responsibility of the
things
promoter.
that play in the
Yeah.
fact that how long a tournament should be,
Yeah.
or when the infamous, all right, we're gonna go ahead and take a 10-minute break. It's like, fuck me, Then, if you're pulling supers, you're the last one. You're kind of going, all right, man, I gotta go to the bathroom. But goddamn, if I go to the bathroom and then they call and you got 30 seconds before you're gonna take a loss if you don't get there in time. So there's always that. But I think we're trying to, it's almost to a point. I told Grondin, I was like, hey man, you might want to consider doing 2 days, man. If you're getting 500 plus, you might want to do 2 days,
Yeah.
man. Like you might want to do Friday night would be like amateurs and masters or whatever, or grandmasters, and then Saturday can be just open. You come in here, whoop some ass, whatever. I mean, I just kind of threw it out. If you're getting that many people, you might want to reconsider restructure how you want to do that.
I agree, but don't you think, talking about promoters and stuff again, like Perry runs a thing called Battle Zone. We got a big, actually, everyone, we got a big event coming this weekend. It's in Hinton, Alberta. Um, Perry runs it. It's Battle Zone. It's one of our biggest tournaments. It's way out in the middle of nowhere, like 6 hour drive, and it gets 300 something entries every year. So it's a decent event. But he has all the refs planned. Like he hires like 8 refs, usually 7 or 8 refs. And he knows if he needs to run that many tables, he runs that many tables. And that tournament, it just flies through every year. Now, like it's not 500 and something, but it's I've seen 360 there. You know what I mean? So, and it's up to the promoters to make sure they're prepared for their events too. You know what I mean? Like, don't run a fucking single table and think you're gonna get through a whole. You know what I mean? Because I've seen it. I've seen tournaments where it's like a single table and they get another one, and then there's no refs, so they got to get 2 non-certified refs to run that table. Like, you know what I mean? When you
Right.
start seeing events like that, it's like, well, okay, come on, right? Like, what are you doing here? Like, you should be able to. The key to being and you learn it early, like your first event or second event, you learn. You need to have everything lined up. You need to know how many tables you want to run. You need to have the refs. You just have to, as a promoter, what you need, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you do it. So they're really, I don't know. I think if you have 500 something entries and you know this a year in advance, well, you know what? 5 tables, boom. You got 10 refs. Hire 10 refs, run 5 tables.
Mr. Dakota Shipton, I'm looking at the comments on my phone now. I thought
Oh,
I'd get wise.
he wants
He
an
said,
invite
"What's
now.
up?" He
I
said,
see it.
"Send him the link. Send him the invite."
Yeah, yeah.
Um, as a promoter, and Matt, you've done tournaments. Brian, you've done some. I do one tournament a year, but I would say my pet peeve, if I had to, is when that one guy you call his name up there, he's there
Yeah.
because on deck he heard his name. Then all of a sudden, next thing you know, his match is over and he goes back into the crowd. Like, bro, come on, man. Like, I want, and we tell us every time, and some people don't listen. If I call your weight class,
Mhm.
you need to be by the table,
Yep.
on deck, be ready.
Hey, Dakota.
I'm not gonna be waiting for you to, mock me or you want to go get a bite to eat. Come on, man, you killing me.
No,
Those are the ones that make the tournament
but you
stretch.
know
Also,
what? It's a loss, though. They got 1 minute to come to the table. And unfortunately, I hate doing it too, but I have to put them down as it's a loss. So their opponent moves through. That's what I do. So
Yeah, but that's the only way people learn, Brian. Sometimes
It
people
is.
got to learn the hard way.
Well, that's just it, right? Like, you got to run your event and you got to have rules. And you know what? It's only fair. You're never worried about one puller. You're worried about all the pullers. You're worried about the whole event. And that's why I'm worried. That's why I always get so mad with consistency and stuff like that, because we want all the pullers to feel equal and respected. And I appreciate them all being at my event. So they'll all be treated equally right across the board. But I won't let one puller stand out from the rest either. Like they're all equal in my mind. So
what
1 minute
about
they
this
got
one?
called loss.
Wow, the whole crew's
Hey,
here.
Zack. Yeah, but I know finally. Yeah. Hey guys.
Hey guys,
Hey,
how's
hey.
it going? Hey Matt, Jody, how you guys doing?
What's up, man? How you doing? Or
Good,
what about
man,
this one? You'll love this one. You guys know I'm talking about this one, where you're at a table, if you're a referee, and then it's like going, hey man, registration closed, 12:30, tournament starts at 1. It's 12:50. Hey man, I'm like 10 minutes away, man. Can I still get in?
Oh,
And you've been promoting that tournament all last X amount of months.
you can't
I'm like going, you
sometimes
gotta be
now.
out of sock you in your jaw for doing that, man. You knew weigh-ins are from for me, 11 a.m., 12:30 p.m. Registration's over. Tournament starts at 1 because that gives the half hour for the bracketeers to put everything together.
That's
Don't be
right.
that weirdo coming in at 10 to 1 talking about, hey, where do I sign up at? I'm like, now you're being super weird.
Now you're screwing everybody because now everybody's
Yeah, I'm
waiting
like,
till
come on,
1:30
man.
to start the event. Yeah,
Right.
it was supposed to start at 12:30, but we got all these people coming in. That's why I say the night before, actually a week leading up to the event, I'll say we do pre-weigh-ins the night before. If you're worried about time that morning, come in the night before. Here's the host hotel. We're doing pre-weigh-ins from 6 till 9 in the hotel, which we do every time. And you're either there or you got to be on time, but there will be no late entries because the brackets are made right away. As soon as 11:30, if that's the cutoff, we do 11:30 because that way, but it's a digital bracket system that we use now anyway. But we have a half an hour to make sure everything's organized and boom. And then you gotta tell them ahead of time and pump it. Listen, it's not going to be personal if you're late, but you're not going to be entered.
Oh
You know?
man, I drove 4 hours away.
I know, but it's like it's not our fault. Like we made it
Right.
clear. If you're 2 hours away, you should have come in the night before and stayed in the fucking hotel. Like,
There
you know what
go.
I'm saying though? Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's like that's the problem is
Well, where am I?
everybody wants to be everybody's friend so much that it fucks everything up. Oh yeah, I got you, man. You're my buddy. Yeah, okay. Well, guys, we got to redo the bracket. Fucking, Josh is just showing up. We can't not have him in the event. Like, no, it's like sorry, man, you're late. I said, man, why didn't you stay in a hotel last night? But anyway, I'm sorry, man. Like, you know what I mean? We already got the brackets done.
And don't be that jackass that comes late just so you can go, oh well, if the bracket's already made, I must get a bye. Dude, don't do that either, man. Don't
Yeah,
be come on, man.
yeah.
Y'all know some people out there that do that. Come on now.
Yeah. No.
Oh, some people are
No.
too sneaky.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the problem in arm wrestling these days, though, right? Like, we have to just like promote the event professional. It's still professional too, right? As a promoter, I got to take pride and be professional about what I'm doing. Like don't Mickey Mouse around all the time. I don't know. I think it's going to get more that way, and promoters are going to start doing it, and they're going to see that it's the best thing to do, and that arm wrestlers will bend to our will because we're holding the promotion. It's you want to be part of it. You have to. Okay, the rules are posted. You know what I mean. There was no gray area.
Right.
So, but you're right.
I
It
get it.
screws up a lot of events, man. I've seen so many events be shit. And it's almost every one does it. It's almost every event you deal with that shit.
So Matt, how are things in Australia, right?
It is
Or New
Australia,
Zealand?
yeah.
Yeah,
No,
Australia.
no,
Okay, I always
it's
forget.
Australian, not
Is it warm
Austrian.
there?
It's going well, mate. It's summer here. It is a nice day. It is 1 o'clock in the afternoon at the moment. So yes, apart from that,
Wow.
the arm wrestling scene is going well as well. We
Yeah.
were saying before, it is growing significantly here. And yeah, we're just seeing more and more people getting involved in the sport, more people that when they come to a training session, they have some education. They know some of the pullers. They might know Devon. They might know Schoolboy. They might know our club members because they've been watching it on YouTube. But more and more people are turning up with an idea as to what they're supposed to be doing, which is just incredible to see. And so, yeah, our next event will be March 23rd for AWE. And we've got some international pullers that are going to be competing on our card. It's going to be here in Adelaide. And we're just getting it off. Everything's sort of finalized before we make the proper announcement, because the last thing we want to do is say, oh yeah, this is what's going to happen. And then it bloody changes last minute. And it's like, oh, actually, hang on. It's not that. It's this now.
Yeah. We live in a literal freezer over here. So when I'm cold and sad, I think of you being warm in Australia for me. So
Let me get, that's my curtain. Let me pull that reveal the sunshine behind
Good
me.
morning, man.
No way.
Good morning, man.
I haven't seen the sun in like 8 months.
You
Where
do
are
know
you?
it's summertime in Australia right now. Y'all know that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've
Oh,
been
man.
sweating, man. I've got the air conditioner on. It's hot here
We
today.
got like
Oh,
minus
must
30.
be
We got
nice.
minus
My
30.
car barely
That
starts. It's so cold.
Yeah.
Where are you guys? You're in like Calgary or something?
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
like
well,
minus
Brian's
27
Calgary.
Celsius.
I drove up from Calgary earlier today, but I'm in Edmonton right now. So,
I'm in between.
Ah,
Yeah.
You're in
Zack
the
Jody,
freezer.
where are you from again?
What's that?
Where are you from again?
Oregon.
Oregon. Oh.
Nice.
Hmm.
You're
Yeah.
pulling at the Winter Blast, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah. Is that what's next for you, or do you got something else coming up before that?
No, that was next. Winter Blast, the Armed Gods event. It's the Independence Cup. So it's
Yeah.
Team USA versus Team UK. We're pulling for a cup. It's gonna be like we're gonna try to make it special. Like, they're gonna get a cup big enough, and then they're gonna have this plaque, and they're gonna engrave the year and whatever team won, and then whoever wins, that country keeps it for the year, and then they come back the next year and go for it again. So it's gonna be kind of like bragging rights too. So that's gonna be cool. Aside from the matches that we got, I'm pulling for the 105 kg left hand independence championship belt. So I really gotta be on my A game for that. So I'm
Fair
excited for
enough.
it.
Nice, man. That's good. That's fun. And Brian, I saw your match this weekend.
Yes.
Just gassed out, hey?
Oh yeah, he gassed me. I gassed myself out actually.
Yeah, that's what I thought too from watching.
I tried to honestly, normally if I hit and get anywhere near where I did, I just follow it with a press. But I
Yeah.
was like cocky and I'm like, I'm too strong. And I just every time I tried to go surge, he'd gain a little bit, and then I said, oh shit, I'm screwed. And I
Yeah,
started feeling myself blow up. Yeah.
it happens.
Yeah. Oh,
Sometimes
yeah.
you got to learn the hard way, hey?
Yeah, he was actually really good in the setup, man. He really, really shocked me. Like it wasn't the same guy that I watched in the video. He wasn't doing the same shit. He actually made adjustments for me. I know he did because I trained for a guy that just sits there and wrist curls like at the go, and he didn't do none of that. Like he was slipping right away. He was good too. I couldn't hold on. Most people I can hold on. He was at it. He made me punch myself in the face in the round one. Boom! I hit myself. I was like, "You fucker," because I was
And-
going straight back. Right? Yeah.
And what do you think of it being slapping and boxing?
It was awesome.
And arm
Hey, Zack?
wrestling. Yeah, that's your 1st
Wasn't
time
that
doing
awesome?
that, hey?
Flat fight was fucking nuts. I don't
Was
like
it?
it. I think it's a stupid sport, but I had a great time, man. It was. Oh,
It's
yeah.
fun to watch, though.
It's fun.
Yeah,
It's
it was-
entertaining, that's for sure.
Did you watch it, Jody? Did you watch Past the Arm Wrestling?
They did, and I was like, oh, slap fight. I was like, I don't know if I want to watch this because
I know.
I can't fathom myself having a grown man allowing him to smack me as hard as he can.
Yeah, I'm the same
no,
way.
no, actually.
And I got to stand there with a big old foam roller behind my back. And I'm like, I'm supposed to just allow this? I'm sure they got signed waivers, but I will say this though, those two ladies that got up there, boy, they was taking some serious hits,
Yeah. Yeah.
But the one guy that got put to sleep, I was
Two
like, is
guys
he
did,
okay?
Yeah, two guys did. One
I
guy,
mean, he
2
got hit.
minutes. One guy was 2 minutes to get up. It took him 2 minutes to revive him.
Holy smokes.
Oh, yeah, he just went boom, and then they didn't even catch the one guy. I was like, "You're supposed to be catching
You're
him."
like,
As they
"Whoa."
fall.
You had one job.
Yeah.
I
Okay, so
know.
here's another thing, because I got a football background, and with the CTE and stuff, it makes me wonder with this thing, the way if it blows up the way it does, at what point are we gonna start? Because now we're gonna start
that
getting
CTS
concussions and
stuff
stuff.
with the brain?
Seriously,
Yeah,
because we're going here, right? They're like, okay, 1,
your whole
2, oh,
head.
here comes 3, and your jawbone trying to absorb that impact. That's going to lead all up into here. At some point, man, like, okay, at what point does we start seeing damage to the, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they've already had people die doing it. So somebody died in Europe. They got knocked out. They hit their head in when they hit the ground, and they went into a coma, and they died 3 days later. This was like 2 years ago.
No, I know exactly.
So,
Yeah, I don't approve of it, and I don't like it. But
What about the
I was
boxing,
entertained by
Brian?
It was
I didn't
good.
watch
The
it.
boxing, the two of
Boxing
them.
is fun to watch, yeah.
There was one that match. The two kids that went at it. Oh man, it was.
Dude, I want to box and arm wrestle in the same day.
Yeah.
at the same time.
Yeah. Oh, at the same time.
I'm good at arm wrestling myself.
I'm gonna talk to Gelder. I'm gonna get that set up.
Yeah.
I'll arm
I'll
wrestle
wrestle.
someone and then box someone or
I'm a
same thing.
wrestler. Yeah, I'll wrestle.
Did you ever see that X arm thing that was maybe like
Oh,
15
God.
Yeah.
Where they were strapped together and then they just
Yeah.
like people were
Yeah, that's-
putting people in arm bars and stuff.
They did a lot of weird shit. What did you see the phone booth one?
Yeah.
They had a phone booth
Yes.
and they put two guys in a phone booth.
No, literally like
Yeah.
fighting in a phone booth.
Yeah, it was so
Or the
stupid.
car where the guy
The
wraps
car
his neck.
car
with his-
jujitsu.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, car
car
jitsu.
That's messed up, man.
People getting
Uh,
bored.
That's nuts. I mean, I couldn't really do that kind of stuff because it's like I want to be able to. I don't want to be at an age where I'm, sipping applesauce through a straw or something like that. That's
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
Muhammad Ali.
I was gonna say, look at Muhammad Ali, and even like Mike Tyson's good now, but you can tell that he's taken a lot of hits too in his day, right? So
yeah. It's just like,
yeah.
at what point do you?
Holyfield's slow as fuck now.
yeah,
Yeah,
That's one of the great things about arm wrestling is that you can get on with somebody, go as hard as you possibly can physically. They're trying to overpower you, you're trying to overpower them, but you're never in any danger of getting like brain damage or knocked out or anything like
right.
that.
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Like you'll be sore. Worst case scenario, you tear a bicep or break your arm, but nothing
Worst
close
case
to
scenario.
nothing
never
compared
heard
to
of anyone
lifelong
dying from
damage.
wrestling.
What?
I never heard of anyone dying from arm wrestling.
Yeah.
True. Good point.
You guys almost fainted on the table before?
I got lightheaded at practice one time. I was like
Right.
pulling really, really hard. And I was like in a top roll and I was just really pushing myself and I must have just blown out too much air. And then when I stood up and went to inhale, I like needed a second. I was like, ooh, that was close.
Yeah, I've done it maybe 3 times and the third was probably like the closest. I've got it on my Instagram, but I was defending, and it was like right just above the pad for about 20 seconds or something, and eventually I got pinned, and then like the white, that white out just came like this, and I was like, oh no! I'm like, I know there's a table there, just grab hold of that before I lost my vision,
Yeah.
and then like just everything disappeared. But then it came back again, and when I watched the footage, like I went like, ugh, like
Were you holding your breath?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
probably
yeah.
why. Oh, I got
Yeah.
a couple questions for you guys actually. First one, did any of you guys watch Matt Mask's match this weekend? Wasn't really anything crazy, but he pulled a left arm match actually.
Yeah, I did
No.
watch
I
it.
didn't see it.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Some the national champion from Canada in 2 weight divisions, he called out Matt. He's for money. I'm not sure how much, but and said like I'll give you some money if you let me test myself against you. And Matt ended up beating him 3-0. But
Yeah.
and then what did you guys think about Devin's performance against Gennady?
Oh, I thought he was solid. I thought he was nails.
I think that's
He looked like
like
a
one of the
terror,
best Devins we've seen, man.
It was pretty dominant. I mean, Gennady was hoping that he could just get him fouled out or something.
I haven't seen anyone hook through Gennady like that so convincingly. That was the big thing for me. Was like even when Michael Todd and Gennady were pulling, like Michael Todd won, but Gennady was pressing and in an offensive position. I feel like with Devin, like Gennady really never got into an offensive position. Like he was able to hold Devin in that hook kind of close to the pin pad, which I thought was really good. But I feel like Devin always has that lane too where he can like kind of can open that wrist. And I feel like you could see throughout the match that he was teetering with wanting to do that, but he was also just wanting to test his hook.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, we had a
that's
couple
pretty
of people in the chat asked to see my match against Brendan. Am I allowed to do that?
I think you'd have to talk to like Gelder and stuff
I
if
think
you
I
wanted
do.
to
I
do
think
that.
I can't just play it.
But you can just tell him to go to the M spot and then forward to your match.
Yeah.
That was like I said, the atmosphere is what I saw. I was like, wow, man, it was loud. I was like going, okay, I'm liking this, and then you had the slap boxing thing, and so I like what M Spot's doing, Montana Armbender's doing, because like I said earlier in the show, it's different.
Yeah.
And as long as you guys stay different and not try to be like somebody else, that's where it makes y'all special. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's why I think made us get so drawn into Montana is because of the things they're doing there, man. Like their productions, and not only that, just the community there. Like they get their community really supports them. Like the whole you seen the money thrown around at that arm?
Yeah, I was gonna say the armbender was where I really like. I knew Montana was big into arm wrestling, but like for me, what was cool, like even when Zach and I were down there for the first Arms-A-Geddon, we were just at a random restaurant eating, and we had arm wrestling shirts on, and the people there were like, "Oh, are you guys arm wrestling at the big event like later?" Like, "Oh, we're excited for that." And you know, you usually don't like just hear the locals talking about the big
No, that
event
was the
for
first
arm
time I've
wrestling.
heard that. Yeah.
At the halftime sports bar, which is where the armbender was, I'm pretty sure it was like somewhere between 10 to 12,000 US was put on the table by sponsors
Damn.
over 12 matches. So, like even my match with Miles, none of us are from there at all, and sponsors threw 600 US combined for our match.
Yeah, that's cool.
The RVJ and Sanders match had, I believe, 4,000 US, and then there,
Crazy.
and then yeah, and then there was a kid there. His name's, I shouldn't call him a kid. He's older than me, but he's a younger guy named Logan, and he's like been in that Great Falls his whole life, and he knows the community really well. And his match got up to 3,500 US.
Yeah.
So like in 12 matches, it was close to average, probably $1,000
$2,600 on the
match.
John Therian match. 2,600. Yeah,
Oh, so I mean, probably more than 12 then, because that's 3, 6, 9. That's almost 10 grand on those 3 matches
That's
alone.
just the 3 matches.
And Robert Petley had $900 on his.
Yeah.
Like anywhere from like probably 11 to 15,000 US.
Oh, I need to be on that card. Oh,
They
I'm
said
telling
if you keep doing this, Brzezink's going to be here next year. That's what everyone said.
well,
Todd Zill's been there once already.
Yeah, he did 2 years. He was at 2 years ago. Yeah,
He was at the first one, wasn't he?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that was the big thing I noticed too, was like that bar hit capacity. All the seats were full an hour before the event started. Then people were coming in and standing, waiting for the arm wrestling to start. Then it hit capacity, and the bar had to turn around 70 more people. They said about 70 people they turned away. So like, and I think this is the 4th time they've had this, or the 3rd or 4th time, and like the production's been getting better. Like they're kind of working out all the kinks still, and I'm like, once you guys get this fine tuned, like they obviously have the sponsors that are willing to put the money up. They just need to find a venue that can hold the amount of people that they want, and I think
You're gonna have to move it to like a college gymnasium or something like that. I'm being for real, because like Michigan State's so big, they gotta have theirs at like Kellogg Arena, where I think they do like the minor hockey league team is there, and they gotta hold their event there. So just something to something to look into, because where you guys are at now, if they're turning away people, you've already outgrown that area,
100%,
at least that location.
Yeah.
So,
but I think that was their first time at this location, and they based it off of numbers they had the year prior, and they upped the capacity a little bit. So I think that's something that they will definitely fix. I think it was just more or less like, oh, wow, this is bigger than we even thought this time. But I think one big thing that helped them this year is, and they announced this a little later on, but they ended up getting enough sponsorship to not only do the cash that they wanted, but they got bonus sponsors that give them enough money that they were able to make it free entry.
Gotcha.
So so they had free entry, all that money on the table. I know me personally, I got a free T-shirt. I commentated, so I got a few other things, but I'm not sure what all the other athletes got. But I mean, it's definitely a promotion that you want to work to be on, because it was a really fun experience for sure.
Nice. Well, I'll tell you what, guys, I've been on the show for at least over an hour and a half, so I'm gonna go ahead and shut this down for me so I can go get a bite to eat for dinner. But hey, gentlemen, it was cool to talk to you guys as always and stuff. Brian, thanks for letting me be on the show.
Well,
everybody in the chat, y'all be good and stuff. And is there an event this weekend?
Yeah, well, for us there's Battlezone.
Battlezone.
And I think the matches there's matches added to it. So there's gonna be some big matches.
I know what you're talking about, Brian.
Do you?
Yeah.
Where can someone find though that? Is that going to be live feed or no?
Stream? It's United Arms. Is it United Arms?
It's either called on a YouTube page called United Arms TV, or it'll be on the Alberta Arm Wrestling Facebook page live through Battlezone. But I'm hoping they do YouTube, because I think if you're a promoter doing something live, you should always try and do YouTube, because I feel like it's the most convenient if you're not like charging or something, obviously. So
right.
The chat says later, Jody. Thanks for coming on.
Everybody, enjoy yourselves. We'll talk soon.
Take care,
Yeah.
man.
There you are.
Take care, brother. Yeah, so Battle Zone. We should actually talk about that a bit because it's this weekend. And
Yeah, I only got about 10 more
let's
minutes.
do
Brian.
Battle Zone then. Let's
Okay.
get it in before
And then we can talk about it if we do another show this week. But
tomorrow maybe. Yeah.
yeah, I'm not entirely sure all the matches, but I know Mason DeRossi's pulling somebody. I think it's for the title. And I know Joe Fox has a match.
Yeah, against isn't he pulling the guy that I thought I was Guitard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nathan Guitard.
Yeah, I was told that he couldn't come and I didn't get the match.
Oh, yeah, you
and then
told
Joe
me that.
Fox gets it.
I think I'm opening the event because I'm pulling Jonathan Mercer. I think that's match 1, I'm assuming.
Dale's pulling Jesse Harrow.
So I think the event order is me and Jonathan, and then it's going to be Dale and Jesse. And then it's going to be, I think, Jacob Lee and Martin Langlois, probably. And then it will be Joe Fox's match or Mason's match, whichever way they do that. I think they'd probably do Mason first.
And then is the other match confirmed?
I don't think so.
Oh.
I haven't heard anything.
Well, I'm going to ask him.
I don't want to spill the beans. But
John is saying you can talk about the match, I think.
John.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he thinks he can. I think I can.
It says, well, it's always good when somebody ends their sentence with "I think."
Yeah, well, yeah, I know that's not very helpful. Okay, it is. So Sean Crowther versus Josh Bellin.
Woo!
Yes, again,
The
these guys
return.
arm wrestle all the time.
Yeah.
And I've heard there may be money for this one. I don't think that's confirmed or anything, but I think that they're trying to get something going on for that.
They're trying.
Yeah.
But that match is big. Josh Bellin, Matt, he's kind of our number one. I think he is number one in Canada. He won nationals last year, so I guess he's technically in tournament format number one.
The way I like to explain Josh Bellin is he's like Canada's he's our number one nationally, but he's would be like the bottom of the elites.
Yeah,
Okay.
that makes sense.
Rick Heidenbrick, I'm sure you've seen him arm wrestle.
Yeah.
Josh and him have pulled twice, and I think they've both went to the silver bullet match.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
he beats Rick in tournament though, I think.
Yeah. So him and Rick are like similar build, similar size, which is really fun to watch because they're two huge guys. They actually pulled at MAC 1, and then they pulled again at just an event here in Alberta. But those are fun matches to watch. Both times Josh Bellin beat him convincingly the first 2 rounds, and then Rick made some adjustments and ended up coming back with a comeback victory. Yeah. But again, it just shows the raw horsepower of Josh. And that's why Brian says he thinks he beats him in a tournament, is because every time they've pulled the first 2 matches, Josh has won pretty convincingly and then just tired out.
He's like 6'8", 340. Like
6'8".
6'8", yeah. And his
Yeah,
hand,
wow.
his hand goes right. He gobbles my hand up.
Yeah. But Sean's been on a tear lately, and Sean beat Don Hollywood Underwood recently in Florida.
Yeah, to crack the top 20 in North America now.
Yeah, he's on the NA list now.
Yeah, Sean's
and I know Josh has got the better of Sean every time they've pulled, but I know Sean's going to come in there fired up and really looking to get revenge.
He's different than last summer.
Yeah, so that'll be that'll be a really fun match. It's actually kind of fun. It's lining up to be like a little Red Deer versus Grand Prairie, or like Red Deer Calgary versus Grand Prairie, because it's Dale and Jesse, me and Jonathan, and then Sean and Josh. So they're all from one club, and then we're all kind of in the same club, so it's fun.
Yeah.
Amazing. Does your nationals have drug testing?
No.
Okay, great.
No.
Yeah.
Does yours?
It does, but it's not my organization. It's the other organization that runs here in Australia. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't really get into that. The all natural shit here. I mean, honestly, tell you the truth, I don't think it matters. It really doesn't. I mean, on the amateur level, I think it might matter because you might get people hurt. But I mean, it's a tendon sport. I mean, I know guys that are jacked out of their minds, and I hold them like babies at the center of the table. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't believe, like that. I don't think steroids has a big of a impact on arm wrestling as people think.
I think dedication, time, and effort is so
Yeah.
much more important in arm wrestling.
It is. The tendons.
Don't give that.
Sean said, "Oh, sorry." Sean said 1,000 Canadian total on the table of our own money for that
Yeah.
match, and then he also said that he wished our nationals had drug testing.
No, I know. I
Mm.
know. Well,
It was interesting because they over here they brought it in maybe 2 years ago, and the difference in pullers that are attending the event compared to now, it's like, okay, you've just stopped all of the top guys from attending your tournament. So,
Yeah. No, I know.
Yeah.
I know, because you know what? Well, see, a lot of things too, though. There's a lot of guys, especially older guys. A lot of us are doing like light supplements just because we're older, and it's just hard to be like, we can't be at the same level as a 25-year-old guy. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And even when with a little bit of help, I'm still like way under what that 25-year-old guy's got for regenerative, healing and stuff like that. I don't have that. You know what I mean? So I don't see, that's why I don't see a big problem. And if you make it a big problem, then that's what happens. Yeah. So now you have your nationals, and you're like, he's number one in Australia, and you're like, no, he ain't. You know what I mean? These 20 guys whoop his ass. You know what I mean? So you don't want that either, right?
I think it has its place. But I think as arm wrestling progresses, it will have its place to be like a separate thing.
A separate thing. Yeah.
Which I'm more than fine with. Because me, obviously, is like someone who's been natural. I would totally compete in that just to kind of see out of curiosity. But I also
45.
I feel like just as an arm wrestler, I have an understanding that there are steroid use in the sport, and that's not deterring me or anything. I do like to test myself and just know I'm a big just kind of hard work, and I know that if I work hard, it will prevail no matter what the outcome is. So I'm always down to test myself, and I don't really let that bug me or anything. But there are some people who that does bug them a lot.
It does, but I don't. You know what? And if it's okay, so let's say I go get a testosterone test. If it's just for testosterone, I'm going to come up less than all my competitors, most of the competition anyway.
Yeah.
Because I'm still on the low side of normal, even though I use it, because I don't produce normal testosterone. I just have low T. I'm older. I didn't have the best diet. I was really low. Now I still come in normal ranges, but they're on the lower side of normal. But what, you're going to tell me that because I take testosterone, I can't compete at nationals? You know what I mean? This is what I'm saying. I'm not saying, if you're juice and jacking everything and you're just coming in and your testosterone's 2,000, you know what I mean? Then I get it, right? But I mean, come on. Arm wrestlers, most of them, it's very basic stuff they're taking anyway. And a lot of things that we can take are bad for us. They weaken our bones, weaken our tendons. There's a lot of steroids that, you're going to take a lot of steroids in arm wrestling. It's almost foolish, because you're just asking for a really severe injury. Because that's what I see.
That's what I was going to say too, Brian. Not that I'm crazy smart on this topic, but I do have just from my pharmacy background and things I've noticed are we're seeing in kind of a push now where there was that big push back in the day where everyone was just on as much gear as they could possibly be on and just get big. Even when you look at some of those guys back in the time, and they were just you're oh man, he's huge, he's juiced. But I think as science kind of evolves and we do more testing and stuff, we quickly realize that less is more in that sense.
Yes.
And I think that it's more or less dosages, certain specific dosages, and what goes with what, than more of just let's load up on everything.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why, as much as that's interesting, I think it's tougher for drug testing at the same time, because it's you're not seeing these spiked levels like you used to. You might see a rise in a certain level. So things like that. But yeah, no, I mean, I get it.
It's a tough thing to take on, though. If you're going to take on drug testing, you're asking for just a whole bunch of shit, drama. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I say keep the headaches out of it. Honestly, like John Brzezinski said,
not that much of a boost, really.
Yeah.
If you really think about it, if you're hardened, trained, and seasoned, and you're 200, let's say you're 198 and you've been doing it for 10 years. Some guy's been doing it for a year. Let's say he jumps up, but he's the same weight as you on gear. I don't think he's going to have an advantage just being on gear. I mean, I think you still have the advantage.
No, because it's a tendon sport, right?
It's a tendon sport.
I don't think it's immediate, just boom, you're going to win.
I've had people even say to me, "Oh, you're only so much stronger now because you're on TRT." And I'm like, what do you mean? You know how much work I put into getting better on the table and stronger?
Yeah.
I'm on TRT. I still have low T. Like, what do you mean? Like John Brzenk started taking testosterone at the age of 41, but you never hear anybody tell him he's geared up or, you know what I mean, on steroids, so it's
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? I'm just worried about the people that are not abusing it, but like kind of rely on it just to be able to function and stay in the sport, not have chronic pain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They get
Yeah.
punished. I don't want to see them get punished out of it. That's
As with anything, though, I think there's a fine line. And you know what, though? I think as much as we can sit here and talk about this, but there's going to come a time when arm wrestling gets enough money where it's just its own separate
yeah, you
thing.
could have a separate thing.
You can have your natty league, like Joshua Wilson's doing. You
Well,
can have
and that's what I mean. Like
but
the
don't ruin everything.
and like Josh Wilson believes in that. Like all the power to him for doing that. I mean, Sanders and RVJ are more than welcome to get a drug test. But even look at and I'll use Sanders and RVJ as examples. Like obviously I don't know, but I'm assuming RVJ has been natural his whole life because he's always talks about it and everything.
Yeah,
But let's just assume that he is for this case. But like, look at how far he got in the sport, right?
Yep.
So I think that really shows that hard work factor is probably the most important thing, putting in the hours. Like Zach was saying with the whole 10-year versus 1 year on gear, I think that really at the end of the day, what really matters is the amount of hours you put into something because you have to just put those dedicated hours in. And then steroids can be a way to try and speed up that process, which I get, but you got to be careful because you can't speed up your tendon development. You can speed up things like that, and that's what we see when the muscle becomes stronger than the tendon, and then we see a bicep tearing.
Yep.
And that's why I think arm wrestling is interesting because really you can try and speed it up, but you have to be smart with it, or else you're just gonna inevitably damage yourself more than you would have if you just would have put the time in anyways.
It's not the sport to have really strong muscles and weak tendons. Right?
No.
Yeah.
And I think Mason's a good example of that too, because like Mason's very strong, but when you look at him, you just look at him, you're like, oh, he's strong, like tendon wise, because he doesn't have huge biceps, like he's lean, he's muscular, but like you can just tell that the elasticity and everything in his body is so connected. And because it's like you look at him and you think like he shouldn't produce that much power, but he does. So very interesting.
Yeah, plus drug testing is very expensive, or at least it is here. Like if you like the tests that they run for the nationals here, they're probably around $1,000 to $1,200 per test, and so they
which
can
is crazy.
Yeah, and you
it's
think
a waste of money and resources too.
Exactly right. Yeah, and you would be like, well, say you're testing 3 people, that's $3,000. It's like, why wouldn't you use that 3,000 prize money or
3,000
more promotion or make something else better than trying to? Yeah, I just don't think it's at that level where
that's exactly. I agree with you completely, Matt. And like I was kind of saying, like I think right now it's a matter of let's put our money into getting this sport as big as we can. And not causing divide, not doing anything wrong. Like let's all work together. And then there's going to come a time when we've all put in the work and we've made the sport big enough that we are going to be able to pick our battles where we want to pick them financially on other things. It's like, and this is like probably a bad reference, but it's like if you're a developing country, and you're like when you're developing, you want to put all your money into development. You don't want to be putting your money into like support for other things, or you want to get your development first. And then once you're developed and you're sustainable, that's when you worry about the more petty things, right? Yeah, exactly. And so I think that's what will happen with arm wrestling because we're in a good development phase for arm wrestling right now. And I think some people feel like we need to develop a lot more. Some people feel like, oh, we're getting close to that point. And then that's why you see some people picking battles that you might find interesting, or it's like, I wouldn't personally do that.
Yeah, especially with like the amount of different compounds that are out there. It's like, okay, well, if you're going to say we're going to test for stuff and class it as performance enhancing, it's like, all right, well, how far down the well do you want to go? Because you've got different levels of everything and anything. As the people in the comments they're saying BPC 5157 and TB 500, which are peptides. Are you if they come up on a test, are you going to ban somebody for those, or like what is your outline that you're saying this is performance enhancing? Like for Brian, like if he's not over a normal level with testosterone, but he gets flagged as having synthetic testosterone, it's like, yeah, but his levels aren't above normal, so you really start opening a can of worms, and it's like, oh man, can we just arm wrestle?
Yeah, and I every time I hear this argument, like with other like on other pods and stuff, they never touch in on that part of it. Like the part you
Mhm,
just said. I'm
mhm.
like, you guys are always talking about drug testing and that, but you never actually touch in deep enough on it to really understand that maybe it's not the best thing for our sport. We're too small. You know what I
Well,
mean?
yeah. Well, I just looked at because I'm obviously a big fan of the UFC and
Yeah.
seeing the way they implemented their drug testing protocol there for their company. I mean, and I see now why they did it, and they did it at the level that they did because they went and hired USADA, which is the guys who were testing for the Tour de France, like where fucking everybody was on stuff.
Yeah.
But so they brought those guys in, like the highest guys, and they were catching people left and right, like just and for the smallest things, but they also caught a lot of people that were unfairly like that they had bought an over-the-counter supplement and it just happened to contain something in that wasn't listed on the ingredients. And then USADA was able to purchase the same supplement, prove, okay, yeah, no, that tainted product or whatever is in this. But you're still getting a year ban,
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
was like, uh, but to see that transitional period, you saw so many of the fighters that really shrunk down. And
Look at Vitor Belfort, man.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I
absolutely.
always use that example. Guys, I
Yeah.
hate to be that guy, but I gotta go. I still gotta get home tonight and stuff. So,
Oh,
All
yeah,
good.
yeah.
but hey, Matt, it was good chatting with you again.
Yeah. Go on, man.
Brian, Zach, I'll see you guys on the next
All
one.
right.
Man.
Take care, guys, and have a good rest of the pod.
Okay.
Yeah, good luck if
Okay.
I
Thanks, man.
don't talk to you. Good luck in your match.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Hopefully there'll be a
Good luck.
practice before then, but we'll see.
Hopefully.
I'm gonna mop this guy for Red Deer, take some money. We're all gonna have a good day. So should be fun. All right, see you guys.
See you, brother.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is it, and like Alistair Overeem is probably my perfect example. He's a heavyweight,
I've
and
seen him just fight.
Yeah.
yeah.
Wolverine, they call him.
Oh man, he went from Mr. Olympia down to like half that size. It was like a melted candle version. It was insane to see once they brought in those drug tests. But yeah, but obviously they brought that in. They hit it really hard for about three to 4 years, and then they sold the whole company. So it was obviously one of those little added things that they could say to a buyer. It's like, yeah, well, we're a legitimate company, we're a legitimate sport, we've got drug testing in place, all our athletes are clean, they can all be sponsored, they're all like,
And they got
and
rid of
then
it.
yeah, and then they sold it for $4 billion.
Yeah, and then they got rid of USADA.
Yeah, they did.
They did. Yeah. So what's that tell you, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I
That's right.
know.
Well, but the fights did go like I think the quality of the fights, the quality of the fighters, it did shift downwards dramatically, at least from my opinion, when they really started hitting it hard. It was like you saw the performances weren't as good, the guys couldn't, the endurance level dropped, the strength level dropped, the muscularity, the ability to land devastating punches, like it just
Yeah.
everything sort of slowed down, and it was like,
Yeah.
oh, well,
I mean,
you've
that's
taken your product.
that's not an Olympic sport. That's an entertainment sport. So
Mhm.
like, should we be putting ourselves to Olympic standards when we're trying to give the best, like promote the sport,
Entertainment
grow the
is what
sport,
matters more, right?
the entertainment, right? So like, arm wrestling's
Um,
gonna have to make a yes. Yeah.
Arm wrestling
Entertainment.
entertainment.
Nice. Yeah, I'll watch them. Yeah, no, but that's what we got to do. We got to make a statement as arm wrestling. We want it to grow. So then we're going to have our professional leagues, which is, IFA and WAF. People, if they want to go compete for world championships, they can be professional. They can take that path. But when they want to go the other route and work their way up and be on a big show, then they take that path. So if you want to be drug free, and you test and all that, go to WAF and do all that. But then when you want to you want to make money, because you actually make money doing this, you go on the big screen and you get, not juiced up, but you train hard and you do what you do to get to that elite level to put on a good show for fans. Now, do the fans really want to see just everybody just like weak and no one, like, I don't know. I think we got to go the right way, right? We just divide it. So we have our professional side, which is going towards worlds, and then we have our entertainment, like, you know what I mean? Maybe be a big name one day, go the other way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so it's basically the same with bodybuilding. I mean, you look at they've got a very well-established natural league or several natural leagues throughout the world. And how does that rate compared to the professional side with Mr. Olympia, so the Arnold Classic every year, where you've got guys that are obviously using stuff. And it's like, well, which one's more popular? Which one, if you're going to have a career in this sport, well, which one are you going to be heading towards? Because if you win your natural title, you might get a handshake and a medal. Whereas you win the Mr. Olympia, you're getting, thousands and thousands of dollars in sponsorships and all the opportunities that comes with that. But yeah,
I mean,
the amount of people that tune into the Mr. Olympia versus the amount of people that tune into the other one is not even a question, right?
not even close.
that's right. And it's not a sport, I would say, like that it's almost like its own separate thing with bodybuilding, because you're being judged on your appearance as opposed to, can you lift this thing, or who's going to win the race, or that sort of, it's like,
well, yeah. And even people that like watching that shit, they go watch the all natural and they're like, oh yeah, I see a guy down the street that looks close. And then you watch the fucking other one, you're like, look at that guy. That guy's a specimen, man. What the fuck? You know what I mean? But that's the reaction though. And we have to look at, yeah, we're in this sport, arm wrestling, but what are the people on the screen seeing?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because if we ever want to break out of the old traditional, like we have our little arm wrestling circle, we have to think differently. We have to look at it like UFC did and just think about, how is it being viewed on the other side of the screen? Not here right now. What are they seeing on the camera? Because if you look at it that way, we could change the sport entirely.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Absolutely.
Like, I don't know if it's so easy for me to see, but you know what I mean? I don't know like why it's not happening, but it's starting to though, right? It's starting to for us.
How did you find, like, how long have you been taking the testosterone now, the TRT?
2 years.
Yeah, nice. It's about the same as me.
Yeah. And I did find, like my level's not super elevated, right? But I did find that I wasn't sore quite as long. Like it wasn't a practice and I had to wait 10 days before I could go back to practice because it just hurt too bad. Right now it's like, yeah, maybe the next day I'm stiff. You know what I mean? It might be a day before I hit the weights, right? But then I work out and then I can go to practice again next week if I have time. But when I first started, I couldn't get anywhere. I was just so hurt all the time. And then some guy told me, he goes, well, Brian, you are fat and you're older. You're out of shape. Like, why don't you go get your T levels checked? I know. I'm like, you know what he said to me? He goes, when's the last time you had morning wood? Right. And I was like, and I had to ask myself that question seriously though. Right. Because as men, we have pride, right? Like it was hard for me. I had pride. It wasn't easy for me to go get my test levels done and try to get on. That's another thing too, because I'm a prideful man a little bit, right? It's a downfall in me. So I actually swallowed my pride. I went to the doctors, right? Got it done. They said, you have, really low testosterone. Like, what I mean? And I was having some anxiety and some problems at the time. And it all kind of led to it. I had a lot of aromatization because I'm fat and didn't have enough testosterone. And it was actually my quality of life was actually really bad. Like, you know what I mean? So he recommended it. So I started doing it and then brought my T levels up, and he wanted them higher, but I actually, my body's never been high. So I didn't react good to higher levels. So I tried higher levels, but I would aromatate it into estradiol. So, and I didn't want to be on blockers and all that crap, right? So I had to find a sweet spot. And my sweet spot is just on the low end of normal. Like that's my sweet spot. So yeah, and now I have like some quality. I have a better quality of life than I did before I did it. And it was kind of because of arm wrestling that I looked into it. And maybe I was thinking, maybe I'm low and I'll be stronger now. I might have thought all those things, but really it didn't change anything except for now I can function normally. You know what I mean? I can heal a little better. I get better night's sleep, well, most of the time. Sometimes I get a little off, but you know what I mean? Like I recommend a lot of people to check their hormones because a lot of even mental illness, they say that a lot of men these days in their 40s, especially, are suffering from symptoms of mental illness. Not mental illnesses like they're crazy, but they're having anxiety, maybe panic attacks. They're having, and a lot of it could be that their T is dropped so low and their estradiol levels are higher. And then it makes you more liable to have a heart attack. Did you know my doctor said I was in line to have a heart attack like soon because my T was so low and my estradiol was high, and that means my blood was all screwed up. So by adding a little bit of TRT, it might have saved my life. Like it really might have, because there's health implications too, right?
Of course.
Yeah, so I recommend anybody. It's not a bad thing. You know what? If you're feeling aloft, get your blood work done. And if you're over the age of 35, get your once a year, check your testosterone because it
Yeah,
could save your life. Like it could.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That,
So like I think
that's
it's good we talk about it. I really do. And I think it shouldn't be taboo because this could help people.
yeah, especially regardless as to the sporting culture of it. But
Mm.
just knowing where you're at in terms of how is your body working. And so I get mine every 6 months just to see what's going on, make sure the
Yeah.
cholesterol, everything is going good. Because I need to know those things to know where I need to focus my health, nutrition, my sleep,
Yeah.
my recovery, all that sort of thing, which is part and parcel. It's like if you've got all of those things, if you're drinking enough water, getting enough sleep, eating reasonably well, you're exercising, you've got good people around you. Those are your first easiest things that you can change. And then
Yeah.
it's like, okay, well, if you've got all those things and you've still got, say, low testosterone or low whatever, it's like, okay, well, that's something we can address with
Yeah.
medication.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, yeah, like I'm like the last guy to like I don't praise pharma or nothing, but I think that the hormone thing is kind of real just because of the food. Like even when we think we're eating healthy now, the stuff that's in it, I mean, there's all kinds of like artificial estrogens in our food. There's all kinds of hormone reacting stuff that they add to it as preservatives and stuff. And like you think you're buying, the best produce or you're buying that grade of meat. Well, you're getting all the stuff that it's injected with, antibiotics, whatever that, whatever's in it. All these things can actually affect your health and your hormone levels. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Plastics and water bottles. Like water, they're talking about the BPAs. They're like the body recognizes them as like an estradiol, so
Oh,
it can spike your hormone levels. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's all
wow.
kinds of stuff. Like I did a lot of studying before I made the decision to do TRT, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like like you can think that you have the perfect life. Oh, I eat great. I exercise. I have lots of testosterone. You might not. And a good way to
Yeah.
tell is low mood, anxiety, stuff like that. That's a sign. That's a heavy sign of low testosterone.
Yeah, and for like anti-aging purposes and stuff as well. I
Yeah,
mean, as men, I think over the age of 30, it's 1% per year that you lose your natural levels. So, by
exactly.
the time you're 40 years old, there's 10% down on what you used to do, and then 50 is 20%. So it's no surprise that as soon as somebody is dipping in what makes them masculine, makes them feel who they are, that they're going to feel that depression. They're going to feel like, hey, I don't feel like myself anymore. Um, the simplest answer is, well, go and check your blood and see what's going on with you,
Yeah,
because that's going to be the easiest way to find out. And even if you are eating healthy, everything's going great, you've got your morning wood, you're feeling great, everything you've covered, still go and check, because
yeah,
like you don't, it's like, oh, where am I at? Because maybe like I feel great. Well, it's like, what are the levels where I feel great? Because then
mhm.
you've got a baseline. You're like,
Yeah,
oh, okay, well, here
exactly.
I am, here, and you can sort of track it. And then if something starts dipping, you're like, oh, okay, that's gone down. What have I changed? Have I done something differently? So yeah, having an idea
Baseline
as
thing.
a
That baseline thing's important because I didn't know what my baseline was. So I
Mhm.
was like, trying all different shit because I didn't have a baseline to go off of. Yeah, if you know it where all those numbers are and you felt great, well, next time if you're not feeling so great and those numbers are off, you can say, hey, there's something different here.
Yeah, exactly
I
right.
agree
Yeah, and
with
the difference for me, like using it, because I was probably 39 when I started noticing things like I plateaued in the gym, and it was like no matter how much I worked, it just was flatlining. And then eventually, when I was like 40, it all started going down. Like I
you.
was slowly getting weaker
It's
and slowly getting smaller. But it
Yeah.
was like it was a really slow thing, and I just could not make gains. Like I was trying different training routines, eating more, eating differently, sleeping, all the different things over a 2 year period or whatever. And it was like no matter what I did, it was like, yeah, you are slowing the decline, but there's a non-stop decline coming
You
here.
might put on some fat, but yeah, to actually put lean muscle, it's a lot harder.
That's right. So yeah, when I started using it, the decline just stopped, and then it started pushing back to where it was. And I'm probably sitting. It was just great to get results again in the gym, and to go and train and see the numbers going upwards as opposed to going down, which is absolutely heartbreaking to see that happen. But when it started moving back up again, it probably got to a level, and I'm probably at a level where I was maybe 25, 26 years old, but it has stuck there. It hasn't gone like, I haven't been lifting stuff I've never done before. It's just sort of put me back to that level where maybe it was mid-20s. And that's where I'm sort of kept with my results with it, as opposed to, oh, you take this stuff and you'll become superhuman or whatever. It's like, no, it didn't do that for me. It just brought me back to like where I was when I was like 25.
Yeah.
Not Captain America serum.
Yeah, we get some of that. That'd be nice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Well, I don't know. I got some stuff I gotta do, guys. So I'm gonna have to jump.
Yeah.
But listen, thanks a lot. I really appreciate you coming on, Matt. I seen you in the chat, and Drew said, "Get Matt on." So I was like,
Anytime, man. Anytime you
on
want to jump on, man.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh yeah, but
appreciate
you're
it.
welcome. Anytime we're on, you're always welcome on. So just if you ever want to talk I'll just send you the invite whenever you want. So
Thanks, man. Well, I just happened to be lucky enough to click on and see you guys were here, and I was like, oh, I'll check that out for sure.
no, it's good seeing you, man. I haven't talked to you in a while. So right on.
No worries. Yeah, good
buddy.
stuff.
Oh,
Look
Oh,
out.
yeah.
Oh, figured it out.
Yeah. Oh, Zack. Oh, you're too good, Zack. Too good. Yeah.
Very good.
Well,
All right,
yeah,
I'll leave
thanks
you
for
to it,
making it
guys.
too, Zack. And
Yeah. So what'd you say? AWE was March 11th.
oh yeah,
March 23rd. So
23rd.
it's the same weekend as Winter Blast and Arm Gods, but they're running on Friday and Saturday, and our thing is on Sunday.
okay.
Nice. Okay. Cool.
Oh, and
Yeah.
please like and sub if you haven't done it yet, guys, in chat. We're trying
Yeah,
to get to 500 subs. And when we get to 500 subs, we're going to start giving away prizes every month. Handles, whatever I got laying around, I'm going to start doing prizes every month. So hit that sub button.
Yep.
Yeah. That's all I can
Yeah, thanks
say.
for coming on again, Matt.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. All right, I'll leave you to it.
Okay. Yeah. Talk to you again soon.